What a pain in the arse, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. All right, so I was like skedaddling all morning trying to get all this together. So I was going to do it last night, and then I was not feeling so hot, and so I went to the gym. And I did like an hour of cardio. I did a lot of weights. I was doing almost like full body because I just needed to get everything like circulated and moving and sweat really good, and then I steamed for like 30 minutes. I'm trying to just really get off, like really detox my system lately. Like my doctors had me on some like fucked up medications for like cholesterol and blood pressure, and I was having like weird reactions. And I used to smoke for years too, and then I had like two different procedures in the past year, like one on my nose just to breathe better, and then like a epidural for a herniated disc. And I had to have anesthesia both times, and just felt like my lymphatic system or my kidney just needed to like detox. And I could tell just my sweat felt weird, and my lymphatic system just felt backed up. So I did like a little bit of a detox, and then I've just been eating a cleaner diet, cutting out carbs and sugar as much as possible. Been pretty much like I'll have like tortilla chips or like a tostada or like a carb-free tortilla. But yeah, like no bread whatsoever. Every once in a while I'll have some gluten-free rice or like an organic like potato, but I'm really even trying to cut out the rice and the organic like potatoes and just be like just like wraps or vegetables and protein, and lots more like fluids, organic juices, protein, more protein drinks. So yeah, but it's been so as I've been just like detoxing, it's like if I don't stay consistent with like working out like every other day, I just start feeling like sluggish or like thinking about doing acupuncture just to like open up my meridians, because sometimes it just feels like my energy flow is not as like circulating as much as it should. Anywho, so what's on the agenda for this is part 2 of episode 1. I think that's what I'll do when I do an episode. I'll do a part 1 and a part 2 just to fully get out everything I want to discuss, because I create a lot of like content ideas beforehand, and to pack it all into one episode, it would just like the first episode the other day went like almost like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and so I still had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to like continue to talk about. So I was like, okay, let's do maybe like one episode a month, and I'll do it in 2 parts. I think that's probably the smartest thing for now. And then I'll just do like shorter content in between that throughout the month on YouTube. And I do random lives on my Instagram. If you ever want to go onto my Instagram, it's Supernal David 77, the number 77 on Instagram. And I do a lot of regular lives. You can get to know me more on there because it's probably the platform I use the most. So there's a lot of stuff about my like music on there, my acting, modeling, my old podcast, which I took down those videos. I did like a season 1 and a few episodes of a season 2, like an Instagram version of the Supernal David podcast, which was really successful in the sense that I just felt an anointing on it from the creator and all these cool like synchronicities, and people were really interested and engaged with it. And but then I also kind of learned what I do want. what I do want it to be about and what I don't want it to be about, and what I do want to talk about and what I don't want to talk about. Because the first season, I was kind of just like going into a lot of like my old trauma and personal relationships. And I was like, you know what? I don't really want to talk about, like, I'll talk generally about people, but I don't want to be like, talking about people from my past or their names and shit like that. So it's just like, I don't want any sort of like attachments to these people. And so I'm kind of just like, if I discuss someone from my past, it's going to be like in a general sense of like, oh, so and so, ex friend, ex boyfriend, ex teacher. I'm not going to be really like dropping names because, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. Nor do I want, I'm like cutting cords. So I'm like, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye. You are not in my movie anymore, honey, sweetie, darling. And if I do discuss somebody, it's somebody that I love and trust, which I don't really have a lot of those types of people in my life. But I'm developing some new relationships like that. And then I'm really close with my mother, and I have a little baby. Well, it's my mother's dog, but it's pretty much mine. So I'm like the daddy. Little Chihuahua Terrier, and he's 9 years old, and he's like my baby. And so he's my mom's dog, but I take care of my mother. Her husband died 2 years ago with dementia, so I moved back from Chicago and helped her with that, and it would have like killed her had she had to do it on her own. She doesn't really have any other family, and my brother has his own family and lives in another state. And we have like a really like weird family like that where it's just not close. The ones that were close have died, and so it's just kind of like me and my mother and my brother and his family, but in another state, and the baby Doogie, and I love him. He's like my child. Anything ever happens to my mom, he's mine. So he's like my baby. And I love him to death. He's so freaking adorable. The most well-behaved, so affectionate, loving. Like, I have never been so attached to like a animal in my life. It gives me like such great joy. So he's my priority. So everything kind of like revolves around him. And my mother's very healthy, and she's retired, widow, and volunteers at her church, and she's very spiritual, healthy woman, very positive, and it wasn't always so. We didn't get along well when I was younger, and she made a lot of mistakes with the way she raised me and my brother, and some really detrimental decisions with me, which we've had to overcome, which was not easy, but now we've made amends. She's copped to a lot of the mistakes she made, but also my mother had like an accident when she was younger where she was like fell and this bucket like went into her neck when she was a little girl, and it cut off the oxygen to her brain, and ever since then she had like learning disabilities. So I always give her that grace of she's a little bit, I don't want to like to say mentally challenged, because she can still drive and do lots of things, but she does have a little bit of she ever since then, she like once she went back to school after that, her grades dropped. So it is like a learning disability, or you could say disability even though she's not on disability. And so I always gave her that grace of, not only that, she came from like a hard life. Her parents were really poor. Her dad was like a miner, and her mother was like my grandmother Rose was like she would appraise jewelry and antiques and collect antiques and run an antique shop. And I loved her. My grandma Rose and me were like so close growing up, and then she's like my guardian angel. And then so it's really strange. So yeah, I'll throw this in there. So my mother's blood father, Orville, he died So he used to be a miner in New Mexico. My mom was born in New Mexico. And then my mom got pregnant. So then they moved to Vegas or Boulder City. My mom was raised in Boulder City, which is right outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. Then my mom met this guy when she worked at the Union Plaza. She met my dad, David Taylor, and I was named after him on my birth certificate. And excuse me, have some coffee. And then they went on vacation to California and they got pregnant. I believe she said they were in Pasadena and they had sex there and she got pregnant with me. And then I was born at Women's Hospital in Las Vegas, Nevada, which does not exist anymore. They closed that hospital down. And yeah, and then so my mother never had like a college education. And my blood father David and her separated, and she found out that through people that he was cheating on her. Years later as an adult, I met up with him because he never came around other than like I only remember him in junior high when I had surgery come visit me, and other than that I met him a few times as an adult and that didn't turn out good either. But he gave up custody of me. He blamed my grandmother, which I thought was ridiculous. What I think really happened is that my mom thought he was cheating. People at the work were saying that he was doing things. He was doing like, kind of like shady behavior and like disappearing on her and all this sorts of shit like that. And like, so she was like, screw this, all roads are leading to like he's being unfaithful. And so, and then my grandmother and grandfather were pissed and thought he was up to stuff too. And so she ended it. And then she started dating this guy named Steve, who is my brother's father. And then they get married. He adopts me, changes my name because this guy is very controlling, domineering, like heavy set, like really intimidating, really smart, like a draftsman, very successful, and then like a total like carpenter builder as well, and then but like a belligerent beer drunk, and really chauvinistic. And he married my mother. He was also loving, but mixed with all that other crap, which just kind of cancels it out, if you ask me. And so this is the crazy thing. He already knows she just went through this. Like had a child, got married, and then got divorced. They were divorced within a year of me being born. And then he does the same freaking thing to her, but worse. He changes my name, adopts me, so I'm suddenly legally his as well, and changes my name from David to like Jeffrey. My birth name was David Jeffrey Taylor, so he took my middle name and made it my first name. And he cut out David completely, and then they added my grandfather's name and his last name. And then he gets my mom pregnant with my brother. Now, before she's even had my brother, he cheats on her with this lady who ends up becoming my stepmother at his work before she even has the baby. And once she's had the baby, he leaves her. And so here's my mom, no college education, working, she was working like, $8 an hour jobs at like Pep Boys and Circle K, like convenience stores, and like a hitching post RV as a secretary. It was very just like, $8-9 an hour at the most. And we lived in like a trailer on the east side of Vegas. Now, I was born in 1977, so Vegas was like desolate. If you look at old pictures of Vegas in 1977, like the strip is barely anything. Oh yeah, and I'm missing the point of my grandfather Orville. So my grandfather Orville, who used to be a miner, and this happened years before I was born, so I'm going back a little bit. But he's my mom's blood father who was married to my grandmother Rose. Now, when they moved to Vegas, he became where he worked on the casinos, like helping build the casino. So they were building that landmark casino that looks like it looked like a alien flying saucer with like a needle going up through it. So he was working on that, and I guess he was drinking alcohol, and he had broke his back when he was a miner, so he had to wear this like back brace, and he is drinking that day. I didn't know that for many years. It was just recently that my mom told me that part of the story, and I didn't know that he was drinking when he was at work. And she said something like Coca-Cola mixed with something. Maybe it was Jack and Coke. I don't fucking know. And then when he's driving home to Boulder City, there's this like curve if you're coming out. So it's, you go from Vegas through Henderson, and then you curve around this mountain, and there's like a little casino there called Railroad. What is it called? Railroad Casino. And coming around, and now he's literally a block or two from the my grandmother's trailer. She had like a really nice like double wide trailer, and like Boulder City was really nice for like retired, older people, and really peaceful up there. And it was, I loved growing up partially up in Boulder City. And yeah, he flipped his car. They said they don't know if he fell asleep at the wheel, if he had a heart attack. I don't think they did like a autopsy. And so now the crazy part is, so he dies, the car flips, my grandma gets this call, she's devastated. Not only that accident that happened to my mom, but then my mom's like 9 years old or something, and her dad dies. And so she was traumatized by that. And she just really didn't do well in school after both those things happening to her. And so years later, I was born on the same day he died. Is that not crazy? The exact same day. So yeah, he was same day. And as it got closer, my grandmother said, I bet you anything, he's going to be born on the day Orville died, as it got closer. And I was. And so I think it was some sort of sign of either he held me or chose me for my mother. And it's interesting because as my mother's older and her husband dies, I'm the one that takes care of her. And there's no other like family in the picture to kind of like look after my mother. So I think there was some sort of like predestined thing that, he was concerned about, his daughter being in the physical world and someone to look after her. And that he chose me specifically, because and I really felt that sort of thing when that happened with my mom. I was just like, having a challenging time in Chicago as well. And I thought about moving, and I moved for like a week or two to Pennsylvania. And then I was like, I can't deal with Pennsylvania. It was like, felt like I was like in a time warp. And then my roommate's girlfriend was like crazy, and I was this lesbian couple, and I ended up finding out she's a crazy alcoholic. So I called my mom, and then my mom's telling me, her husband has dementia and how he's getting. And I was like, look, I just left Chicago after 10 years and went to Pennsylvania and made a mistake, and I do not want to be here. And there's like, it was so I'm a city boy. I was like from Las Vegas, Nevada, lived in like West Hollywood, North Hollywood, LA, Beverly Hills, but I was like struggling. It wasn't like I was like in Beverly Hills. I was like struggling, like practically like homeless multiple times, and staying with like friends, and like I was really struggling hard in California. I was more stable in Vegas and Chicago more than not so much in Cali. It was just harder to make it there. At least in Chicago, you have more resources and you have the train and taxis. California is so fucking spread out. You need a car, and people can just be so shallow there. And then Vegas, I had some friends I grew up with and some family members, even though like late teens, early 20s is when I became like completely disowned from my parents, except for like a few like times where I would meet up with them, and then it became like completely severed. And so that's just a little bit of all that. As you're getting to know me, I'll drop little personal stories from my past like that. But yeah, let's get into. Was there like a basic point of what I was like discussing all that? I just want to make sure I'm not like missing a point. Whatever, let's just move on. And let's go into the Bible portion. For Balak, actually, we're going to do some of the Zohar for Balak first, which were what I was. So on Instagram, I will do usually like a photo advertisement of these YouTube episodes. And then you'll see on YouTube my posts. They only allow 5 photos on when you make a post to promote the the podcast episode on YouTube. You can only use 5 photos, and you can't incorporate music. So when I do it on I promote the YouTube podcast on Instagram, I can do a little bit more. I can do like 20 photos, make it a little bit more like interesting of all the things I'm going to be sharing and the topics, and make it like more funny and artsy, and I'll add music to it. So I love doing that, and it's kind of something I've always done with Supernal David season 1 and partially with season 2. And so yeah, I'm continuing that as well. So I do promote. If you want more of the content about the episodes, check out my Instagram again, Supernal David 77, and you can see the advertisements and a lot more deeper levels of content. And you can catch, I'll do like random lives on there, even discussing what I'm preparing for the podcast, so you can get a lot more content there as well. Like the one I did today, I used the Keke Palmer T-Boo song. Goodness, so hilarious. I love that song. And then yesterday I was advertising. I was going to do it last night, but I just went to the gym and then I was exhausted. And I did an advertisement as well with Kylie Minogue's It's Beautiful, which talks about like going through the ritual, and kind of that's what the podcast is with me. It's just like I have like a ritual where I set up my desk, I anoint my desk. It's like a spiritual preparation and process where I'm incorporating Zohar, the Old Testament, these holy like books, and we're studying different religions and spiritualities, and then we're doing oracle card readings. I usually always incorporate an oracle card reading, and yeah, I like to incorporate like art and movies or series and yada yada yada, whatever. I like to talk about personal things that are going on somewhat. Don't get nosy or entitled about my biz. Just kidding. I'm also eating some cheese and pickles, having coffee and an energy bloom drink. So we're having a little mukbang as well. Not really, like a snack bang. A little snacky poo. All right, am I in the right book? What's going on here? All right, so yeah, let me pull up what was the portion. So yeah, we were going to discuss birds. So we'll go to the birds section first. Yeah, today we're discussing birds and this Messiah, the period of Messiah, which we are entering now, according to ancient Kabbalists. So right now we're going to be studying in portion Balak of the Holy Zohar, which is the Old Testament Bible portion that we are in right now in Judaism or in Kabbalistic. The cycle, it goes through a cycle. Where it just aligns with the holidays and the astrological chart, and so there's always like a weekly energy that's relevant and going on. So in this chapter, it's called The Bird. You see some of the content I did this week about it. I was using a lot of stuff like the new season of Sandman, where the character Dream is almost like a Messiah-ish character. Has this like black crow that flies around and like a spirit animal that's looking out for him, or almost like an angel, guiding him, communicating things to him, looking out for him. Now, I had a personal experience with a blackbird as well years ago when I was homeless, and the experience was completely life-altering. I'll get into that in a moment. I'm just gonna have a little pickle, little Munchies Mount Olive kosher dill chips. I got a little Tillamook sharp white cheddar, and some Cantina Tostitos. They're really thin. They're the best. I'm having a little cherry lime bloom energy drink, and then I'm having Khalifa Farms espresso blend with their organic Khalifa Farms brown sugar almond milk creamer with only 3 grams of sugar. Excuse me. No, that's Cebu. No, that's Cebu. No, that's Cebu. It's like stuck in my head. Oh. There's a napkin. All right. Oh my god, my ice melted for my energy drink. Darn it. Oh, there's a little left. I'll just drink the water and then pour it. It took so long, my energy drink got warm. My ice melted. Okay, so, and then I was also doing other content, like funny content. Like this week, Cardi B was at like some fashion event with a black crow, or I was incorporating Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds, which I'm going to tell a story that I saw this really interesting story. So we're going to talk about how these blackbirds are known to be like, and many birds can be like spirit animals, like eagles or whatever. And but I've noticed there's something with like blackbirds, especially just this week, where I was just stumbling. Everything I was like, all the content I was stumbling upon was like blackbirds. And the one experience that I had in my lifetime was with a blackbird as well. And I don't know if it was a crow or a raven. I don't know. And a lot of times when I'm seeing these blackbirds in the content, I don't know. And you know what's one of my favorite Beatles song is that song Blackbird. Blackbird flies into the light of a deep. I forget how it goes. Blackbird flies. Blackbird flies into the night of a deep something shit. I don't fucking know. I ain't trying to sing right now. I digress. And fucking, excuse my language. And so yeah, like Cardi B was on the fashion carpet with her. It was crazy. She had like this bird there, and they had like a wire to it with like the bird handler near her. And these fucking paparazzi, excuse my language, were like, "Rah!" And she's like, "Stop yelling! You're scaring the bird." And they kept doing it. Like these paparazzi are just like, some of them are just like so mentally disturbed. It's like, do you understand? Shut the F up. It's a freaking bird. You're scaring the damn bird. She looked like she wanted to freaking like go after his ass. It was pissing me off just watching it. And then I was also going over content of Ed and Lorraine Warren, you know, the paranormal investigation pioneers, the Conjuring universe series. All those movies are based on their cases, all the way from like remember the old movie Amityville Horror? That was one of the cases they were on. So they would document everything, and they would actually be sent in by the Vatican because the priests were even intimidated when it was like too like haunted or too demonic, and they couldn't even, you know, people were like, even priests were afraid, and policemen, and so they would send in, you know, Ed and Lorraine Warren because they became famous after the Amityville case, like internationally famous. And so yeah, The Devil Made Me Do It is like the third installation where they got even more notoriety as well in America from that case, because it went to like court, where it was like the first like court case to prove that somebody was possessed by the devil, and did something because they were possessed, and it wasn't really them in control. So that's what that movie was about, and which I absolutely believe. So I was talking about this girl that I experienced who was possessed, that I used to play, or her and her friend would play Ouija board. Talked about this on, you know, the first part of episode 1. And so they played with it's satanic book. They invited me over. I didn't know what the hell they were doing. I sat through the experience, but then I was like petrified once it seemed like she was like possessed. And then, you know, and she would never answer me after that if she was really possessed or she was faking it. And I know now she really was. Because years later in my 20s, she came over, I saged her, did a Kabbalah prayer on her to banish anything, and something came out of her. She spoke in some other language. It was like a male voice. Her head cocked back and she went ah, la, 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 in some other language. And then the light fixture at the entrance of like my door was like a plastic round thing that you would screw in around like the light fixture, just fell at the same time that she cocked her head back and said that. The thing fell and slammed on the tile, which is weird because it was almost symbolic, because it was like a black circle coming out of the light. So it was almost like the darkness was like knocked out of the light, and the darkness that was in her was like knocked out of her by the sage and, you know, me doing the Kabbalistic banishing prayers on her. And she was even shocked. She goes, keep reading that. Like, I will never forget that. That there's certain things that happen in your life that are completely life altering in the way you will never look at life the same after that. And so this was the thing that I just wanted the point I wanted to bring up that story was that when we were teenagers, like after that had happened, she started to become really violent. Not with only me, but with other friends. And I remember it was probably because she had that in her, and that was making her like extra violent, which makes sense as to why in the Devil Made Me Do It, Conjuring Part 3, that it, it's absolutely possible for people to be possessed by, they even say Kabbalistically, when you let anger overtake you, that you can be possessed by a negative spirit that can take over your vessel and use it to do something like that you could absolutely regret and never come back from. And so they always say it's wise to like temper your anger and not let the anger get the best of you. If you have anger issues, the best thing you can do is channel it in ways so you're not so reactionary when something triggers you, because it could really just ruin your life. And so yeah, we were in the car one time and we were arguing. It was this friend was driving, this girl we were friends with, and we were like arguing about the radio. And I said something that pissed her off, and I was turning around like in the front seat looking at her, and she straight took her foot and kicked me right in the fucking face, and my teeth like went into my lip. And oh my God, I was so shocked that it went from just like an argument to like she did that, And looking back on the scenario, I'm like, oh yeah, there was something in her. And she also got in a fight with one of our other friends, and I remember she took a lamp, like a metal lamp, and hit. We had a mutual friend that was a girl that we had grown up with, and she hit her over the head with the metal lamp while people were like around, and it like dented in the freaking metal lamp. Like she was like, and eventually she went crazy and was put in a mental institution. She got onto drugs. She started dating a guy who was addicted to drugs, and he started stealing from her, and she lost her children because of it. She was put in a mental institution. She became schizophrenic. Yeah, it's very sad. And like I grew up like in the same neighborhood and went to school, and she was like a best friend of mine, and it was just so sad. And the guy too, I grew up with him too, and to see them both be taken over by not only like drugs but like evil spirits was just one of the most painful, because it affected our whole entire friend group. And there was so much just like misunderstanding, and like, because all the friend groups around that age, like we all grew up in this like trailer park and east side of Vegas, and we would all just like experiment with drugs, and it was very wild, and everyone would be hooking up and smoking pot every day, and we'd be doing like freaking meth and fucking acid and mushrooms and coke, and just like we were like completely like wild fucking teenagers in high school. And that's like when it started, kind of like high school. And there's like probably like 3 different people out of the friend group that completely lost their lives because of all that. And so I think it really just caused this ripple effect of like, but we were kids, you know what I mean? Have you ever seen that movie? It's like on Disney, where it's with Betty Davis in it, and there's like these kids, and they go into the forest, and they're like, they blindfold that girl and do some weird crazy, like they're playing with like witchcrafty shit, and they don't really know what they're dealing with, and they do some sort of spell on her, and the lightning like strikes and she like disappears. I forget what it's called. Look it up though. But it was just kind of like, they was just, not that it's comparable to this situation, but I'm just saying how it's like sometimes like when you're a teenager, you're making decisions and you don't realize the repercussions of how it's going to alter your life forever or affect your relationship with your family, or like I didn't know that me being like, because I was so kind of like needy because I was gay and I was so insecure and in the closet back then. I think I was overcompensating by trying to fit in with the other kids, and I was picked on a lot, so I was always trying to like go along with everything, or so I was always like kind of like peer pressured into doing drugs with them. But then doing all those things like ruined my relationship with my parents and caused them to like view me completely differently and not want to support me or have anything to do with me, not only because I was gay but because I was being wild with my friends and like lying to them. You just don't know better sometimes when you're that age and you don't have the, instead of my parents being my protectors and being like, okay, my child's being influenced by drugs and peer pressure, instead of being angry and blaming me and then rejecting me, what they should have done is protected me, put me in therapy, kept me away from bad influences, and they just didn't handle things right. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I was able to like reprocess the gaslighting that they did to make me feel like I was a bad, worthless child. And then go through like homelessness because of it. And then, and you know, I never salvaged my relationship with my like adopted dad and my mom, or my stepmom. I did with my mom, like, but like not for like 20 years. And I lost like, and all those friends that I, you know, made all those stupid decisions with, they all like turned their backs on me when my family did that, like turned their backs on me. And I was struggling to like make it in the real world, like very young, without being like set up to do so. And so when you don't have like money and you don't have a lot of things that the other people your age do, they will just kind of like, you know, turn their backs on you. And they don't, it's like they'll party with you and they'll influence you and get you into all this sort of trouble, but then once you're in trouble and then you're like fucking disowned and fucking on your own kid, they all ghost you. And that's kind of like what happened. Anyway, so where was I going with this? Was the I'm like getting off track. The bird. How did I get from blackbirds to the oh shit. Oh yeah, okay. So then I was homeless for a while. Cut to, I there may be something I forgot to say, but cut 2 years later where I'm like struggling again in my 20s. You know, I'm still like estranged from my parents and like I'm just like up and down with like dating this guy and he's like a bad influence and I'm trusting him and he's like screwing me over and like, and you know, sabotaging my living situations and my finances and like using me and lying to me and cheating on me, and it ruined, that just double ruined my life, you know. And I'm trying to like go to college, get financial aid, get you know, a lease in my name, and then he's just like doing all sorts of sabotaging stuff, like having sex with my roommates, who are a couple and ruining my living situation, or like then he's, you know, acting like we're going to move in together and I put the apartment in our name and then we break up and he leaves me with all the fucking 2 bedroom in my fucking name that I couldn't afford. And just like, and he would do things like that, break up with me, leave me in the fucking dust and shambles with all the fucking responsibility. And then once I'd pick myself back up, he would lure me back in. It was like this constant, like, and I was totally falling for his shit all the time because I think I was so lonely and because I didn't have any family. And so I was just clinging on to like whatever was there, even if it wasn't like a healthy relationship. And I didn't have like a good backbone to like stand up to him. And eventually, like, obviously I did. And he burned me enough to where I never spoke to him again. And I'm sure he regrets that to this day because I was very loyal and loving and supportive of him for a very long time, and he really took advantage of it and destroyed it. And so it's like I was probably like 26 or something, and I went through like another 26, 27, went through this another homeless situation where I had lost my job or whatever, and I was just going through like a situation where I wasn't able to afford, I think, that apartment. And so I was like struggling just to get back on my feet. But in the meantime, I didn't know where I was living. I didn't have enough money to get into a place. My credit was screwed up from him where I couldn't get a lease in my name now. So I was having to find like just rent a room. And I remember I had a car though. And I was like I had parked in the Kabbalah Center parking lot. And I was homeless. I think I spoke a little bit about this, and I'm not sure if I spoke about this on Instagram or part 1 of the YouTube podcast, but I'll make it quick. No, it was on Instagram, so I didn't discuss this. So it wasn't my first time experiencing homeless. The first time, I believe, was like where my parents kicked me out and I stayed with friends, and that was kind of like traumatic. And then I moved to California, and that was my first bout of like homelessness where a roommate situation didn't work out and then I didn't know what to do. Then I ended up coming back to Vegas, and then this was probably the third time but the most intense, where I was like, I remember sitting out there and I would usually find something to do. Like I would either go out to the gay club and like hang out with someone or go home with someone or like fucking stay at a friend's house. And this was just like at a point where I didn't have the like old loyal friends were gone out of my life, and I just didn't have anyone to rely on. And I remember calling a few of the people that I knew to find a place to stay, and just nobody would let me. And I was like crying, and I had my car parked in the parking lot of the Kabbalah Center on Jones in Vegas. And I was trying to sleep in my car, and it was just like hot and uncomfortable, and I couldn't sleep. So I just went and sat on the hood of my car and was just like crying all night long. And by the time it was morning, it was Shabbat. And so everyone would show up in the morning, which is like church. If you don't know what Shabbat is, it's like Sabbath from Friday night to Saturday morning. And Saturday morning is kind of like when they read the Torah, and it's like and they have meals with and the whole community comes together, which I always love Shabbat. And they do all these prayers from the Torah when they do the Torah reading. So you really feel like infused with all this like prayer energy and like support from the community. And so I had been studying for the past year or two with them. So that was the thing that I was like clinging to. It was kind of like the only like life raft I had to keep me afloat, just like mentally, as I was going through such like a traumatic experience. And so I sat there till the morning because it was the only thing I could think of to do. And I was like, so once the janitor arrived, so there was like different buildings. So it was the Kabbalah Center and then all these different buildings in this like office building. So before the businesses opened, the janitor would come in and they'd have hallways that would go in between all the businesses and like public restrooms for the whole building. And so he unlocked the doors, the janitor or whatever, and is in there somewhere cleaning. And I snuck in, and there's a hallway like in the back behind the 2 office doors to go into the Kabbalah Center, and there was like a little public restroom, so I just kind of like cleaned myself up a little bit in the bathroom, and then I was so delirious from being awake all night. That's a scary thing when you experience homelessness, is when you get so tired and then you don't know where to sleep, or you have to clean yourself up and you're like using like a sink or something like that. It's just really very just like stressful and uncomfortable. And I remember just falling asleep, like I just passed out. I was so delirious. And I don't know how long it was, like an hour, 45 minutes, half hour. And I'm like totally conked out. And then all of a sudden I hear this bird. So like I'm in the hallway, and then there's 2 glass doors over here. And this bird, blackbird, it looked like it's either a crow or a raven, is looking at me through the mirror. And I'm like laying on the freaking tile, and I hear this pecking on the window, look up, and a blackbird is looking at me and pecking on the glass door, staring right at me. And I could like read the thoughts of the bird, that he was telling me to wake up, that people were coming in the building, and I could hear somebody coming in from the other hallway. So it was like, oh, like, and I realized in that moment that bird was like a spirit animal, like an angel, like God was channeling through a bird to wake me up. And I was just like, I had never had an experience like that with an animal in my life, ever. And I never forgot that. And so when I watched years later the first season of The Sandman, I really related to that character Dream, and with that blackbird that's like looking out for him. But it's not like that bird is like with me all the time. But I also studied with Parashakti for years, and we learned about spirit animals and eagles, and like a lot of Native American teachings with like connections to like winged ones or birds. And so, yeah, obviously over the years, even with like Alana Fairchild, some of her decks, or Cara Elizabeth's Animal Apothecary, and I've studied about all different types of like spirit animals, not just birds. But this week, the bird theme was just like everywhere I went. Even when I was studying Ed and Lorraine Warren, there's a book, because Ed was a demonologist, and then Lorraine was like a Catholic psychic. And so he was studied in demonology, and there's this book about it, and it has like a blackbird on the cover. And so I was just noticing all this like content with blackbirds like all week. And so I incorporated that in the promotion of this. And this portion is about this negative sorcerer in the Bible who goes up against like Moses and King David, Balak and Balaam, but the chapter is called Balak. Now, the first chapter is called The Bird. So this is what we're going to study right now. And it's about how he would use birds and witchcraft. And so, yeah, let's just read this. So the bird, Rabbi Shimon says that Balak saw a real vision with the eyes of wisdom, and that he saw it through one of the windows to Hokmah, which is one of the Sephiroth, or, chakras of like the tree of life system. It's like the filtered system of the light being transferred from heaven, Keter, all the way down to the physical world, Malhut, which is like earth. So there's like a filtering system of different like how different chakras represent different energies, so do the different Sephiroth, which are the circles or portals, if you will, or I don't know however you want to refer to it. And it's like different dimensions, and from the upper worlds down to the physical world. So it says, and the Zohar is very like cryptic and coded like that. When it's like, if you don't know a lot of the terminology, you're like, what? So that's why it's good to always like study with Kabbalistic teachers. And even if you don't want to do that, you can do it online. There's lots of stuff online if you don't like to like deal with teachers in person, which I had so many issues with like dealing with the teachers in person. So some of the best ways for me was just to study online because there was a lot of like discrimination towards me because I was openly gay and I would clash with a lot of the male teachers, and there was just like a cultural divide of their beliefs on homosexuality and the way they would treat me or so, and I wouldn't put up with their discrimination. And so I prefer to study on my own after having too many experiences, negative experiences in the community. And so, and I forgive those people. There's no sort of judgment. It's just basically, I'm just like, it's how it was. It is what it is. And that's just part of my story. It's just a very matter of fact. It's not like I wish them any sort of like harm or I'm going to speak about their names. It's just like, I've let all that go. I've forgiven that. I've moved forward, but I've, known that I was not meant to stop studying Kabbalah, nor does the creator. And I've even asked the creator, do you want me to still do this? And the creator's like, totally gives me green light, go. So it's just like, you don't need anyone's permission to study Kabbalah, even though there's some teachers that may think otherwise because they like to control people. But it's neither here nor there. Oh my God. Every time I say that saying, it cracks me up. All right. So enough with that. So I'm just going to read and I'm not going to keep like stopping. So Rabbi Shimon says that Balak saw a real vision with the eyes of wisdom and that he saw it through one of the windows to Hokmah. We learned that Balak was a son of Zippor, Tzipor, meaning bird, and that so his mother's name was bird, meant bird, and that all his witchcraft was done through birds. Rabbi, is it the dad or the mother? It doesn't really distinguish. So it could be the father. Who knows? I'm thinking it's mother. And that all his witchcraft was done through birds. Rabbi Shimon describes the origin and nature of the bird that he used for his sorcery and says that the name of the bird was Yadua, like Yadua, meaning known. Balak knew everything through the bird, which spoke great things on her own. So I'm scanning the Hebrew Aramaic translation. And Balak the son of Zippor saw. Rabbi Shimon said he saw. What did he see? He responds, it is definitely a real vision. He perceived through the gaze of Hokmah, and he saw with his eyes, meaning the eyes of Hokmah. He noticed through the perception of wisdom, as it says, that Abimelech, king of Philistines, look out at the window. What is the meaning of out at a window? It is as written, the mother of Sisera looked out at the window. It is assuredly the window of Hokmah at the rim of the edges of the stars. That is the window that is mentioned with reverence to Sisera's mother and Abimelech. And these are the windows to Hokmah, meaning that there exists many windows and there is one window where all wisdom are. Like Hokmah represents wisdom, I believe. Whoever looks at the essence of wisdom can look through it. Here too, and Balak saw through his wisdom, meaning his own private window. So that's the thing with like in a lot of Native American teachings or whatever, you can channel vision through these spirit animals, or which is basically like symbolic, like you're tapping into wisdom, you're seeing something, you're getting like a wisdom bird's eye view of something or someone, and it's revealing truth to you or revelation through your own third eye. The son of Zippor is, as they said, that he was a descendant of Jethro, who was also called Zippor. However, he was literally the son of Zippor, bird, meaning that all his dealings were with birds, since his witchcraft dealt with different kinds of that bird. He took a bird, struck about with grass, and let it fly in the air. He performed acts and whispered incantations, and the bird would return with the grass in its mouth, chirping at him. He would then put her into a cage and burn incense before her, and she would inform him certain things. He would then perform witchcraft, and that fowl, meaning the bird, chirped and flew swiftly to the one whose eyes were open, who gave her his message, and she would return. All the words came through that bird. One day he performed his acts and took the bird. She flew away and left, tarried, and did not return to him. Balak was saddened, and before her return saw a flame of fire that flew after the bird and scorched her wings. He then saw that he saw and was afraid of Israel. What is the name of that bird? It is known Yadua. None of those who make use of and know how to make use of that bird know its witchcraft as well as Balak knew. All the wisdom that he acquired came from that bird. This is what he used to do. He bowed down before the bird, burned incense, covered his head, bent over and spoke. He would say, "The nation," and the bird would reply to him, "Israel." He would say, "Much," and the bird would respond, "Many." Hebrew means Rav. In commemoration of the Great One, Hebrew Rav, that traveling among them. They whispered to each other 70 times, Balak and the bird. He would say, "Poor," and the bird would say, "Great." He keeps saying Hebrew Rav. I'm not sure what it's referring to. He then was afraid, as it is written, and Moab was sore afraid of the people because they were many. Hebrew Rav, assuredly Rav. So Rav is like Rav Berg. He is the head of the Kabbalah Center. Rav is almost like a rabbi. So I don't know if that's what it's referring to, like rabbi. In the variety of witchcraft of ancient Kasdiel, we first found that this bird was produced at specific times from silver mixed with gold. Excuse me. The silver is the secret of the right column, Hasadim, and gold is the left column, Hokmah, and they use it to produce and put together that bird to be likened to holiness as a monkey to people. Just like in holiness, Hokmah of the left is blended with Hasadim of the right. They wanted to draw it that way, however, since they did not have the power of unification of the central column, excuse me, everything results in the aspect of refuse, the head. The head, the first three sifrot of the bird, is made of gold, meaning the refuse of gold. Her mouth is made of silver, meaning from silver refuse. And her wings, Hesed and Gevurah, from light copper. That is left, blended with silver, that is right. Since each one is comprised of right and left, the body is of gold with round points of silver in her feathers. Her legs, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, which are more Sifrot of the Tree of Life, are from gold, and they place in her mouth the tongue of that bird, Yadua. Since the tongue is Dot, another Sifrot, and since the Klipot is like a negative attachment, like a negative layer or spirit or evil spirit that tries to attach to people or get it. Like we were speaking about, she had like that girl I knew had like an attachment within her. She was like possessed by. That's klipot. It's negative attachments or spirits that try to attached to like people. And they say it's almost like they would use an example in Kabbalah where they would take a lamp and the klipot would be different like handkerchiefs, and you layer one klipot, two klipot. If you get too many klipot layers on top of the light, it gets dark, like darker and darker and darker till you can't see the light anymore. Now that's what it's like to be possessed, is where these klipot or these negative spirits over, or demonic entities, which they usually run in packs, will take over like, you know, a body, and they'll overpower the spirit to where they take over the body and use the vessel, because they're disembodied spirits, so they need a vessel to kind of like function in the physical world. So that's what they try to do. So since the tongue is dot, and since the klipot have no dot, they have instead known Yadua. Here's the last paragraph of this chapter. So they place that bird in that one window of the ones mentioned above, and during the day they open the window in the direction of the sun that rules by day. At night they open the window in the direction of the moon, which rules by night, and they burn incense and perform witchcraft. During the day they conjure the sun to bestow its abundance, and at night they conjure the moon. And so they perform for 7 days, for then on that tongue is already rattling in the mouth of the bird, but is still unable to speak. Then they puncture her tongue with a golden needle, ew, and she speaks great things on her own. Everything that Balak knew came from that bird, poor birdie. Therefore he was called the son of bird, and he saw what other people were unable to know and could not see. Now there's one more chapter, which was just kind of like the time of Messiah. In the time of Messiah, so we're going to read that as well. Now when it says Israel, you know, it's referring to like a code name for just like humanity, for the light of the humanity, or the light of, you know, the children of the light of the Creator is what it's referring to. It's not talking about only people that live in Israel, even though it is referring to like Jerusalem and a specific area. It's a code name. So we are told this is called In the Time of Messiah. And now if you've studied Kabbalah for years and you get a lot of like windfall of like secrets of how prophetic the Holy Zohar was, and there's certain parts in the Zohar that refer to the time we're in, which is considered the time of Messiah. There's a lot of revelations. Even there's a weird, interesting revelations about, there were like ancient, referring to like someone like Trump being almost like the Antichrist. And then what is going on in the world right now is very spoken about in the Zohar. So it's like a very prophetic book on like, in like ways that are like almost like, it's just like shocking, like how magic the book is, or like revelatory it is, or how it'll, and even with my own personal life, I'll just have synchronicities, crazy synchronicities with this, the Holy Zohar in the Old Testament, where things that are, there's no way, it's just like, and it's very personal, where things I'm going through will be like revealed through my studies, and I'll have this like personal discernment and guidance and coincidences of what I'm reading and what I'm experiencing, and revealing, you know, stuff about my destiny. And it's like I have a very strong destiny connected to the Zohar in the Old Testament, and that's why, you know, it's not something that I've been just able to like, even though there's a lot of like misunderstanding about the Old Testament and the Zohar, and there, you know, and that's been a reason that I have not wanted to be like really like affiliated with it too much, other than the fact that I feel the Creator is anointing me to do so, is because there's so much ignorance and people's perception of it. And then that's absolutely understandable, because I agree that it's like people have used it, misinterpreted it, and used it to oppress people. So I completely get it. But I've had a calling on me to share the true secrets of it and find what resonates with me, and what resonates with me, to share it. And that's been very clear to me for quite some time, that the creator wanted me to do that. And so I'm just being like obedient, basically. And also I draw blessings and protection from doing so as well. So it's like, of course I want to be obedient with what the creator like has blessed me with, like discernment and 20 years of like study to be able to do. It's just been part of my, it was like, when I studied Kabbalah, I never knew I was going to be immersed in it for 20 years, and then end up not teaching it through the Kabbalah Center, but kind of like independently through a podcast, and just like, and who knows where it's going to lead. But I know my destiny is very big, and there are going to be some major life altering things that are going to like take me into like the public eye in the not too far future. And right now is kind of like, I saw myself doing what I'm doing now like 20 years ago, but now that I'm like doing it is really exciting. And to feel the anointing of the creator on what I'm doing is just and the confidence that, because it was like I studied for 20 years, and sometimes it doesn't hit you that for 20 years you're just immersing yourself in all this information, and like, and then when you start talking about it, and you may have like, we always have like imposter syndrome, especially when people our whole lives have said, you're not good enough, you're gay, you don't do it the way you're supposed to, you're this, you're that, you're worthless, you're a bad kid. I've had that sort of programming into my head my whole fucking life. So it's been hard for me over the years to be like, you know what, David, no, you're fucking amazingly talented and wise spiritual like being. And like, I had to develop like my own self-love through all that hate and that oppression and that discrimination. And now I'm at a place where I'm like independently putting myself out there and doing what God's wanting me to do, and finding my own lane and channel to do so, despite the evil eye or the haters or the naysayers or the negative side trying to like stop me. And it feels good to be in my purpose, because I know my purpose is genuinely, authentically just to inspire and empower other people to overcome evil and negativity in their own lives, and give them the life raft that I had to tap into the light of the creator when I was going through such darkness. And had I not had a lot of these tools when I went through all those dark experiences and like homelessness, I don't know if I would have survived it. And it was really like, so I highly recommend, even if you're not near a Kabbalah center, that you go onto Kabbalah.com and you find like the book. This is what I can impart to you. Some of the best tools you can do is buy a 22 volume English translation Zohar. You can also buy like the little protection ones that are cheap. The big ones, sometimes they'll have deals on it. Sometimes they give them away for free. You never know what deals they're having. So they can run around like $300 to $400, the 22 set volumes. But they did like a thing for like over like a year where they were giving them away for free. So just, if you can always check on Kabbalah.com, and then you can also get like a single version where it's only in Hebrew Aramaic, just to have the energy of it in your house brings protection. You can also buy the little protection like $10, $15, $20. They have a little hardcover or like not hardcover protection Zohars you can carry with you. Madonna, when she performs, she always has them in her concert all around. And Madonna studied lots of religions, and to this day she still studies Kabbalah. She's very wise, and she's studied a lot of spirituality, and she has access to things that most people financially don't. So I know a lot of people are like, influenced by her. And so that just kind of shows there is something to Kabbalah that is very like relevant. Whether people want to like discredit it or not, or discount it or whatever, don't listen and don't get caught up in like the religiousness of it, the discrimination or the misinterpretation of it, especially with all the, you know, to me, like Palestine and Israel are like one, and this divide is just like a divide between people and land. It's like tale as old as time. Human beings fighting over land and money and control, and it becomes like, you know, like evil, and it's just like that's. But ultimately, don't get caught up in the details of the, because it's all coded. It's not literally about like Egypt or Israel or this. They're all code names for like things like Egypt is used as a code name for like coming out of slavery or being enslaved, or Israel is just kind of like representative of freedom or the promised land, or like, you know, like, or universal God's children. It's not just about people that are in Israel or just people in Egypt. Like in the Bible stories, you know, like Joseph and all them were like in Egypt and most of their lives. And so it's like, don't get caught up in these like discriminatory perceptions or literal translations. It's not a literal story. The Bible is not a literal story. It's parables. It's coded. There's secret codes to the Aramaic and Hebrew language that most people don't understand and read the Old Testament literally, and they have no idea what they're talking about. And they're misinterpreting it and they're using it to discriminate people. So don't let that stop you from accessing these ancient tools and discovering for yourself, you know. And so that what I can highly recommend is getting the Zohar, the Dialing God book, which is like $10 to $15. There's also a phone app for Dialing God that you can get on your phone as well. If you have an iPhone, go to your app store, hit Dialing God app. It's from the Kabbalah Center. There's also a Zohar app that you can do, which tells you what portion of the Zohar you are in weekly, and you can scan it from your phone if you can't afford the $400 English translation. It's called the Zohar Reader. So go to your app store and type in the Zohar Reader. It's very affordable, and it'll tell you what weekly Bible portion we're in. It'll give you the English translation and the Hebrew Aramaic that you scan from right to left, which is kind of like the conduit for the light from the upper worlds to transfer into your eyes, which are the windows of your soul. And you can activate this, like these blessings, these cosmic energies, and there's also another app called just the Zohar, which kind of is like even like a deeper study app. The Zohar Reader is more about reading the portion and it'll tell you which portion we're in. And then the Zohar app is more like going deeper into it, like Siluk. So this week, Balak, 47 chapters, 507 verses. You see July 8th through starts July 8th, 2025 for the next 7 days. See, it says Tammuz, which is in Cancer. It tells you which astrological chart you're in. Then it gives you all sorts of like details and like topics, and it's really cool. And then see like here's the Zohar Reader. So we're in the chapter of Balak. So I'll click on read the Zohar. Look, it's talking the first chapter, the bird. And so when I flip pages, see, and then it shows the Hebrew Aramaic, and then it has the English translation. See, and then when I go past chapter 1, look, then it shows all the chapters. So then you go into whatever chapter you want to read. Really amazing. You can take that with you anywhere. It's like, so now we're going to read from the actual Balak Zohar, and this is in the time of Messiah. We don't want a piece of cheese and a pickle. I should wipe my hands so my Zohar doesn't sink like pickle. Sour. Yo, antibacterial wipe because I ain't trying to get my Zohar smelling like pickles. Excuse me. All right. We are told that in the time of Messiah, we are told what will happen at the time of Messiah when God is going to rebuild Jerusalem. The account presages the destruction of Rome and its ruler and talks about many wars. The spirit of Messiah will destroy the enemies of Israel, and the righteous will be brought back to life. So when it says destroy the enemies of Israel, it's just saying we'll destroy like the evil in the world against God's children. It's not talking about the war of actual Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu who does war crimes. That's not it's not validating anything like that. Let me be clear. Or any other person that's like, perpetuating war crimes. The Zohar is in like the Bible is ultimately just like preaching peace and not war and not killing. So it's like there's no condoning any sort of like thing like that. And even those it's all coded parables. It's not that's not what it when you learn with the Kabbalist what it really means, you'll find out that is never the answer to anything. And the Kabbalah Center always is all about peace over war. They always promote everything, even though obviously I've had issues with some of the teachers. Ultimately, the Berg family and the whole like motto of the Kabbalah Center is like peace over war. And so is the ancient text. That is what it's really like teaching. And there's so many, even like my song Deliverance, there's a quote from the Zohar from Korach, which was the chapter just like I believe 2 chapters back. There's a line about saying that the creator's name actually means peace. Right, so the spirit of Messiah will destroy the enemies of Israel and the righteous will be brought back to life. So they're saying the dead will be resurrected. When the children of Israel leave their exile, the Shekinah, which is the angel, the female aspect, protector of the world, who when the world has been in exile, the Shekinah is in exile. When the children of Israel leave their exile, the Shekinah will go with them. And they also say the Shekinah protects the patriarchs and matriarchs, the holy patriarch and matriarchs from the Bible, like Joseph, Abraham, David, all them. Jacob. And there's like Rachel, Sarah, Bathsheba. When the children of Israel leave their exile, the Shekinah will go with them, and there will be great joy at the time of redemption. All blessings will freely flow to the righteous from the great deep springs of Hokmah and Bina. I behold it, but it is not near, because some of these matters came true at the time, and some of them are for future times in the period of King Messiah. Now, my album off 21st Century Psalms, the only song that I recorded the vocals to and finished, and I performed it at the Kabbalah Center multiple times. I performed it at an art show in Chicago. It was based off of this, King Messiah, which is actually Supernal David. We learned that the Holy One, blessed be He, will build Jerusalem and display a fixed star that sparkles with the 70 moving planets and with 70 winds that display light from it in the center of the firmament. Another 70 stars will be instructed and guided by it, and it will be glowing and blazing 70 days. On Friday, on the 25th day of the 6th month, the star will be seen. It will be gathered on the 7th day at the ending of the 70 days. It will be covered and not seen. On the first day, it will be seen in the city of Rome, and on that day, 3 higher walls will fall from the city of Rome, and the great palace which is there will fall. The governor of that city will die. Then that star will spread and extend to be seen in the world. During that time, great and mighty wars will be stirring in the world to all 4 directions, and there will be no faith among them. In the center of the world, when that star will shine in the center of heaven, a great king and ruler will rise in the world. He will have haughty disposition over all the kings and provoke war on the 2 sides and will overpower them. That's what my song King Messiah was about, and I wrote it like 20 years ago. So I just got chills all over my body. During the day when that star will be covered, the Holy Land will shudder and shake 45 miles around the area of the temple, and a cave underneath the ground will be discovered. From that cave will emanate a fire to burn the world. I'm sorry. And from that cave will grow one great lofty branch. That will dominate over the entire world, and the kingdom will be granted to him. The Most High saints will be gathering to him. Then Messiah will be revealed in the entire world, and the kingdom will be granted to him. At the time of the revealing of Messiah, the inhabitants of the world will find themselves in one distress after another, and those who hate Israel will get stronger. Then the spirit of Messiah will stir against them and will destroy the wicked Edom, Edom, and the entire land of Seir will go up in flames. Concerning that time it is written, and Israel shall do valiantly that is the meaning of, and Edom shall be his possession, Ser also his enemies, meaning the enemies of Israel. That is the meaning of, and Israel shall do valiantly. At that time, the Holy One, blessed be he, will raise to life the dead of his people and remove death from them. This is what it says. Excuse me. The right hand of Hashem does valiantly. I shall not die but live. It is further written, and liberators shall ascend. And then and Hashem shall be king. Amen. Rabbi Abba said, what is the meaning of for you shall go out with joy? It only means that when Israel leave the exile, the Shekinah will leave with them. They will leave together with her. This is the meaning of for you shall go out with joy, with the Shekinah that is called gladness. Joy is referring to the Holy One, blessed be he. All right, David. Get it together. Oh, I don't know what hit me. It was just like a wave of like emotion. I did not expect this at all. Oh. I don't know what is going on with me right now. Oh. Whew. That is called gladness. Joy is referring to the Holy One, blessed be he. Rabbi Yitzhak said, that is referring to the righteous, meaning Yesod of Zeranpin. This is the meaning of joy and gladness shall be found in it, which are Yesod and Malhut. Rabbi Shimon said, the righteous, that is Yesod and Zeranpin, this is the last paragraph, is called joy. From that day onward, when the congregation of Israel fell into the exile, the blessings were withheld from flowing down to the world from the righteous, from this righteous. At that time of redemption, it is written, therefore, with joy shall you draw water. This refers to the righteous called joy. Out of the wells of salvation refers to Abba and Ima, that's father and mother, which are Hokmah and Bina, which are the Sifrot, the two top Sifrot on the tree of life next to heaven, from where the Yesod draws. The Yesod is like right above Malhut, so it's like the almost like the faucet that would pour into the physical world from all the different Sifrot and the tree of life coming down. Then Yesod represents Joseph the righteous, and then Malhut, the physical world, is represented by David, King David, or Supernal David. All receive from deep springs that flow, which are Hokmah and Bina. Then it is written, and in that day you shall say, Hashem, I will praise you, and cry out and shout, you inhabitant of Zion. Blessed be Hashem forevermore. Amen, amen. Hashem reign forevermore. Amen, amen. Ooh, wow, that was intense. Okay. Sorry, guys. I really don't know why that triggered me so much. Hold on, let me blow my nose. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right. Next. All right. So now what was on the agenda? So we're gonna do. All right. We're gonna do a little bit more of. Actually, let me talk about. Yeah. So we'll talk about the Conjuring. Oh yeah. So we're going to talk about just what the case of The Last Rites is about, because that's the movie that comes out in September. And then a little bit about The Devil Made Me Do It, just about that court case, instead of me trying to explain it, which sounds a little oh, let me wipe my hands. It's gross. Whew. What a release. Feels like something like lifted off of me. Like my energy feels different. It's weird. Okay. All right. So first of all, since Devil Made Me Do It was the third one, I'll just tell you about that case, because this is how it was referred. It was the first like legal case that somebody could be possessed and do something, and that he didn't even remember doing. So the Devil Made Me Do It case refers to the 1981 trial of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, who was accused of manslaughter for killing his landlord Alan Bono. Johnson's defense team argued he was not guilty due to demonic possession, making it the first time such a defense was attempted in a U.S. court. The case gained notoriety and was later the inspiration for the movie The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Background: before the murder, Johnson's girlfriend, Debbie Glatzer's younger brother, David, claimed to be experiencing demonic attacks. The Glatzer family sought help from the Catholic Church and paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. David's alleged possession was documented, and the Warrens believed a demon had transferred from David to Arnie. On the day of the murder, Johnson reportedly had an altercation with Bono, culminating in the stabbing. The trial: Johnson's defense team, influenced by the Warrens, attempted to present a not guilty by virtue of possession defense, but the judge dismissed it. The judge ruled that demonic possession was not a valid legal defense. Johnson was ultimately convicted of first-degree manslaughter and served nearly 5 years of a 10 to 20-year sentence. Aftermath: the case drew significant media attention and became known as the Devil Made Me Do It case. The events surrounding the case were later explored in the book The Devil in Connecticut and the movie The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I've never watched The Devil in Connecticut. Maybe I should check that out. I'll snapshot that. Some members of the Glatzel family have since disputed the claims of demonic possession, suggesting the events were a hoax perpetrated by the Warrens. Yeah, right. Don't talk about my Warrens like that, honey. The case remains a subject of controversy and speculation, with ongoing debates about the validity of demonic possession claims and role of the Warrens. It's absolutely a real thing. You have to be an idiot to not think that possession is like a real thing. some people just never experience that world to know what it's like. But when you do experience somebody who's really possessed and you have like a supernatural experience, like you are never the same after that. You will never look at the things the same. Had I not had that experience, I may think the same way. But I had an experience with somebody who had a real possession. And that was all I needed to see. And I've seen it with like homeless people and drug addicts, and you'll see that there's just sometimes you can see, like I have like a different vision than maybe other people, but I can usually see when somebody has an attachment. I can sense it. Okay. And so now we're going to learn about the case for the upcoming movie, which all my followers, I hope you watch it because we'll do an episode about it. It's the last one. It's the last Conjuring movies, and it was also their last case for the Warrens. So it's called The Conjuring Last Rites. Comes out September 5th. So it's not that far away. It's like literally like a month and a half away. All right, so The Conjuring Last Rites case information. Okay. The Conjuring Last Rites is inspired by the alleged 1986 haunting of the Smurl family in Pennsylvania, who claimed their home was plagued by demonic entities. Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated the case, encountering multiple spirits, including a demon believed to be feeding off the family's fear. The film, the ninth installment in the Conjuring universe, is set to be the final one featuring the Warrens. The key details, and you know what, when you learn a lot of I used to watch just all the paranormal investigation shows, like everyone that I could get my freaking hands on, I would watch for years and years and years and years and years. And that is a thing, is that the more fearful you are, the more power it feeds the demonic forces when you're afraid. So you really have to pull like deep within your like faith and call upon your own like power to like, and on, or God's power channel through you to like banish, and realize that you do have that dominion to overpower them, especially when you're connected to source energy of the creator. But you have to, some people are just, they're not like spiritually strong like that, and they're like, they let their fear like disempower them, where you know the dark forces overpower them. But I'm telling you, sometimes even if you are strong like that, there are places, I believe there are places where the demonic attachments and presences are so intense that even if you are strong and you go into an environment like that, you can still be like affected, because there, you know, and I've been in apartments and things where there was like heavy like presence, and it was like, you know, but these were at ages before I really knew how to like cast out evil spirits, and I didn't have all the Kabbalistic tools and stuff that I do now. Like I lived in this apartment when I was young in Vegas. It was my first studio apartment, and it was haunted. And I was just there. It was like the first night, and I was like laying in my bedroom, and the door was open, and it was like a really old apartment building from like the 80s or 70s or 80s or something like that. That's like how old it was. And it was really cheap and kind of like, you know, I was really naive at the age, and I didn't realize that just because it was old, it could be haunted or I had no fucking idea. And I'm like laying in my bed, and I had a pan on my stove, and the door to my bedroom was open, and the kitchen's to the right. And I was just laying there, and all of a sudden it was like as if some spirit picked up the pan and went bam as hard as it could on the fucking stove. Excuse my language. And I was like jerked and was like frozen in a state of fear. And I was like, because I got this studio apartment like in my early 20s by myself, and I was like there by myself, like it was the first night or so, and I just sat there like frozen for like a minute or two, and then it did it again, and I was so startled. I jumped up in a state of like panic and fear, walked into the kitchen like living room and looking around to expecting to see something, and I knew exactly that it was a ghost in my house because I knew what it was. I knew it was the pan on the stove. It was so loud. It was right outside my door. I knew there was a ghost that did it in the thing, and I just went out there, looked, I didn't see anything, grabbed my car keys. I had like a Jeep at the time, and I was like my grandma had died, and I ended up getting like a Jeep, and which ended up burning down when I was smoking a cigarette in it on the freeway. Exploded. We'll tell that story another day. Anyways, don't smoke in your car. Word to the wise. And anyways, so I went down to now this is the crazy thing too, but if you watch things about haunted places, there'll be either like a lot of if there's like demonic presences there, you'll either be like a lot of flies or like bugs or even like when there's too much condensed evil energy in a place, it can control animals, it can control insects. And so as I was coming out of the apartment, there was all these roaches crawling from one building over to my building over the sidewalk, like a little herd of them crossing as I was coming down in fright of what was happening. It was like straight out of like a poltergeist movie. Coming down the steps, completely sober, coming down the steps, see these roaches coming. I was like out of my fucking mind, terrified. Got in my Jeep. I went around the corner to 7-Eleven. I still remember like off like Spencer and like Flamingo. And I'm like on a payphone, when they had fucking payphones. I don't even think I had a fucking cell phone back. I don't think cell phones were like a thing back then, or I didn't have one or whatnot. And I'm like calling my mom on this fucking payphone, middle of the fucking night, saying, "Oh my god, my apartment's haunted," and she's like not believing me and just like, "Honey, I'm sleeping. Go back to sleep." And I'm just like begging her. I'm like, "I can't go back in there. It's haunted." It's the worst feeling is being alone in a situation like that and feeling like your own family doesn't believe you, and that you have nowhere else to go. I had to force myself to go back in there. And I did, and I was scared out of my mind to the point where I think I passed out from fright. And I didn't go back right away. I probably didn't go back for like a few hours. And then I went back, slept, and then the next day I went over to my friend's house. I told them I don't want to be there. I'm not going back to that apartment other than to get my stuff. And I had them come with me, and they got my stuff, and I moved out and broke the lease. That's how terrified I was. I broke the fucking lease. All right, so anyways, we're going to read. And then I got into a huge argument with the landlord about not the landlord, but the guy who worked in the office that rented me the apartment. He like charged me for the entire lease, fucked up my credit. I was pissed, but I was so kind of like, I was at an age where I couldn't stand up for myself. I was just very like sensitive and timid at that age. It's nothing like what I'm like now. Now I'm like a ball breaker. I'll stand up for myself. I'll like fucking, like defend myself, whatever. But back then, I was just like a fucking little gay baby, and like intimidated by the world and men and and I remember just being so angry at him that I was like feeling like he knew that he knew and didn't care and didn't give a fuck that I wanted to break the lease because it was haunted, and he was just greedy trying to get money. And it was just like, I remember just being so pissed that he fucking did that to my credit. Anyways. Ugh. That gives me the chills even thinking. That apartment's still over there too. It would be creepy just to like go on like a tour. Like I even probably remember which apartment it is. Ugh. Ugh, I would never even go near there. Literally just gave me the chills. All right. To me it was like somebody had died in the apartment and was just like territorial. And their presence, I think their spirit was just stuck in there or something. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel quite like it was like a demonic presence. It felt like somebody died in that apartment. It was territorial, that it was their apartment. And it wanted me out. All right, so yeah, the film, the ninth installment, The Conjuring of the Conjuring universe, is set to be the final one featuring the Warrens. Key details of the Smurl haunting, demonic presence. So this is The Conjuring Last Rites in September. That comes out September 5th. Demonic presence. The Smurls reported experiencing violent acts, sexual assault, and other paranormal phenomena, including a demonic presence. Balak. It's kind of, I think, the theme of like I think they say that presence is it's crazy too. So that girl that I knew in high school that was possessed and all that, when she would talk on the Ouija board, she would talk with a specific demonic presence. She wasn't saying it was a demon, but I know that it was. And it was Zaza was the name of it. I'm not going to say the name, but that's what it used to say its name was to her. Okay, anyways. So the multiple spirits. The Warrens identified 4 spirits in the home: a harmless elderly woman, a young and potentially violent girl, a man who suffered and died there, and a demon using the others to torment the family. Fear and torment. The family endured years of torment, and the demon allegedly feeding off their fear. That you'll notice too in paranormal investigations is that there's earthbound spirits that have passed away that are stuck there, and then there's demonic presences that are not letting them cross over and that are keeping them stuck there. Isn't that interesting? So a lot of times the jobs are if some of these paranormal investigators, if they're skilled enough to know how to do this, is a lot of them that are psychic can do this. They'll know how to cross them over. They'll know how to open a portal of light to heaven and allow them to cross over or to facilitate that. Media attention. The Smurl story gained significant media attention, including appearances on Larry King Live. Ooh, I would love to Google that, which brought the case to the Warrens' attention. Ooh. So the case got the Warrens' attention from Larry King Live. That's crazy. That's how crazy the case must have been to get that type of notoriety. Warren's investigation. The Warrens investigated the Smurl home, gathering audio recordings and photographs, and even claimed to find messages scrawled on the mirrors. Ugh. Last Rites connection. The film's title, Last Rites, may be a reference to the Smurls' home being the site of intense paranormal activity potentially culminating in a final confrontation with a demonic presence. Beyond the Smurl case, while the film is inspired by the Smurl haunting, it is not a direct documentary adaptation. The film will explore the impact of the haunting on the Smurl family and the Warrens' lives, particularly Judy Warren's perspective. The film is described as a reckoning rather than just a haunting story. The Conjuring Last Rites is set to be the final chapter in the main Conjuring series, featuring Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren. I cannot fucking wait. Even when the Devil Made Me Do It came out, I went and saw it by myself in the theater. That's like how much I'm into like Ed and Lorraine Warren. And I don't like a lot of scary movies, but certain ones I do. And like the Conjuring ones have always been, I always liked movies like Poltergeist. I was always into all the Poltergeist movies. So I like paranormal stuff kind of. I don't like gruesome type scary movies. I like either like a good script where it's like mystery or crime. So like I like things like Seven. Like if it's something gruesome, it has to be really well done, like Seven, or like you know which was a really good movie like Seven was the one with J-Lo and Vince Vaughn, where she was like she would go into like so this like crazy sadistic murderer would kidnap these women and really like, and it was like a murderer like in Seven, how it was just really meticulous and disgusting and evil and pre-planned and like just like a serial killer. And but he would keep them alive for a certain amount of time. And so J-Lo was trying to like, you know, and this other police officer are trying to like, or detective are trying to like find these girls before he kills them. And so she's spiritual too. So she goes into this sort of dream state where she can, in dream state, you know, astral project herself into the consciousness of the murderer to find out where the girls are. And it really like, it's a great sort of like, I just thought it was like such a great script idea. And then the movie is so well done. Like when she goes into the mind of the murderer, the sets that they did with these like creepy like doll things and like, oh, it's out of this fucking world. And it's like and then at one point J-Lo's channeling like Mother Mary and like it's so cool. Like what is it called? What is that movie called? It's one of my favorite movies. J-Lo, Vince Vaughn, The Cell. If you've never seen The Cell, watch it. It's like really fucking good. All right. So now we are going to do a little bit of the shamanic healing. I'm going to read a little bit more of the like banishing negative entities or stuff like that, and then we'll do the Kali and the Animal Apothecary Oracle readings, and we'll be done. So this is Shamanic Healing by Itzhak Berry. I read a little bit of it on the first episode, but I wanted to read a little bit more details of the oh, and I watched a little video of Itzhak Berry too when it comes to regarding like doing cord cutting, and he said you can do cord cutting yourself and you can do it whenever you want. Something that you want to consistently do. He's like, if you go somewhere and you feel like bad energy or whatever, or you get into an argument with someone, he's like, always you can come home. You don't need a shaman to do it. Just set your intention, you know, light your candle, light your whatever, your smage. You can do like, you know, this is a selenite cord cutting wand. You can get that at a metaphysical store. Dragon's blood sage is like a great for like getting rid of negative energies. You can use Florida water. which is a cleansing. Like I have some Palo Santo. There's lots of different things you can do. This one's interesting. So it has like something with eggs. What does eggs do? Oh, here we go. Protection techniques. That's what I wanted to read. So those are all healing. Now I wanted to read the protection techniques. Okay, here we go. So this is a section we're reading. Protection techniques. Physical processes for protection. Smudging. Smudging with smoke composed of a variety of plants, herbs, resins, and minerals can be an exceptional energy purifier for your body, home, or office. Spiritually, smoke summons helping spirits. It represents the transformation from solid matter to spirit as the smoke ascends and disperses into thin air. Physically, smoke captures negative energy particles in our illuminated body or habitat spaces and in hard to reach places, then removes and transports them to the heavens to be dispersed. A recent article in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology notes that smoke can disinfect the air from a variety of dangerous airborne bacteria. Hence, it has considerable healing properties. The most popular plants for smudging are white sage, sweet grass. I just saw a white sage bundle with sweet grass. It was more expensive than the other ones. White sage, sweet grass, lavender, rosemary, valerian root, and other aromatic plants or trees like cider, pine, palo santo, and copal. For body purification, start. Excuse me. For body purification, start with your head and go down to your toes. You can disperse the smoke with your hands or with a feather. I used to have a feather, like it was like feather wand with like a crystal handle, but I dropped it and it shattered. I loved it too. I used to sage with that with my I forget what the shell is called. With the shell and my sage, and then I would have like the crystal. It was crystal quartz wand. It was like a long crystal quartz and had like I forget what the bird feathers. It's like these blue feathers. It was really pretty. You can disperse the smoke with your hands or with a feather through an open window or into a candle flame. You can also scatter these plants and minerals around the house for protection against evil spirits. Now, house energy cleansing. Clear bad air, negative energies, ghosts, and good and bad spirits from the house and workplace is as important as clearing one's energy field. Often it is important to clear the owner's energy right after you clear the space. This ceremony uses also the same tools as in La Limpia. The premise of this common practice in South America is that humans, animals, or any object leave energy footprints wherever they go. Sometimes deceased people's spirits will stay at the place of their death, as they are not willing to move on. Negative energy is heavy, stagnant energy that stops the flow of life. It sinks down. If not cleared, it can bring bad luck, fear, sleeplessness, and sometimes violence to the people in the house or the building. It's interesting. We moved into this house. In the backyard, it had like an angel statue with two little rocks and a staff. And I think the landlord said we think it was the first owner of the house, but she died here. So we left it there, so, but I always kind of like send her good energy and cleanse the space or whatever. But I don't know if her spirit is, I don't feel like she's here anymore, but but I feel like she was really connected to this place. I have seen a lot during the year, and probably only wanted somebody, to live her the, treated it right. I have seen a lot during the years. I have practiced this form of clearing from an old sailor who hung himself in the attic of an Amsterdam warehouse to a group of electronic thieves in a store in Queens, from an abusive Middle Eastern husband to an uncooperative Indian wife, from a murdered young woman's ghost that crossed my room at 2 a.m. in Ecuador to a loving old couple who lived a full life in Queens, New York, from a killing dungeon in a Lower East Side restaurant's basement, to an unsuccessful factory in Long Island. Braver than me. I would have to have my soulmate there with me. Or people there with me. From a cheating famous, but can you imagine going in there by yourself? Hell to the F no. From a cheating famous Brazilian healer to a Middle Eastern woman who vowed to ruin my client's business. Wow. All past events that were later confirmed, and the effects of the clearings brought back harmony and good luck and changed people's lives. The shaman's role is to shake and invigorate these negative energies, to move them out of the house and return the house to harmonious balance and flow. Throughout the ceremony, the shaman chants or whistles an incaro, soul song, or prayer. If a house has multiple floors, the shaman starts from the bottom and moves up. Windows are open to let the negative energies and smoke out. Here are the instructions. As you enter the house, stop, gaze at the surroundings, breathe in, and then close your eyes. Ask your spirit guides to inform you on what is going on in the house. Wait a few minutes for a vision or answers. Sometimes spirits and events will be shown to you as holograms. Pay attention and go to the place your visions lead you when you do the clearings. Start by setting up your altar, light a white candle, and call the four directions and your spirit guides. I usually call my teachers spirits in this and the other world for help with healing intention and prayers. With a bottle of Trago, walk all around the room and blow Camay, Camay, through your mouth, preferred, or a spray bottle in the corners under the bed, through your mouth, or a spray bottle in the. It says through your mouth, preferred. For the owners, through a spray bottle, preferred, or a spray bottle in the corners, under the bed, closets, kitchen, drawers, and behind the doors, in all the hard to reach places where stagnant energy lies. The Trago's alcohol molecules neutralize the positive ions in the air to create a more balanced environment. Light a sage stick or any other plant, walk around the house, and fan the smoke where there is stagnant energy. You can use your hands or feathers. The smoke removes old energy and kills airborne bacteria. Walk around the house and vigorously click 2 healing stones with your hands to shake up old energies. Oh, interesting. Walk around the house and vigorously click 2 healing stones with your hands to shake up old energies. You can also clap your hands or use a rattle. Shake, 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 Senora, shake your body line. Shake, 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 Senora, shake it all the time. Work, 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 Senora. All right, where am I? Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay, and with a bottle of Aqua de Florida. See, that's this. Florida water. Let's do a little spritzy. I don't want it to get in my drink. With a bottle of Aqua de Florida, walk all around the rooms and blow through your mouth, preferred, or a spray bottle in the corners. Under the beds, in closets, in the kitchen, in drawers, and behind the doors, and all the hard to reach places to bring good energy. Walk around the house and puff tobacco with the blessing of spirits. I'm not into the whole puffing. I used to be a smoker, so I was probably into it then, but I don't find I don't like tobacco. Actually makes me feel weaker and not as powerful, or makes my vessel feel vulnerable. And I've noticed that over the years that when I don't smoke, I feel stronger and I feel more vulnerable when I smoke. Walk around the house and puff tobacco with the bliss. Now, he maybe puff, he's not inhaling it, but still, I don't even like that. But a lot of Native Americans use tobacco, or shamans. So it's your desire, what you like, your preference. Walk around the house and puff tobacco, but I used to love to smoke. I mean, I still secretly like miss it, but I know it makes me feel like shit. And it really does. Like, it makes my lungs feel congested, my throat bother me. It ruins my singing voice. I don't feel good. I don't sleep good. I like it. Just overall, it has like a negative effect on me. But I smoked for like over 20 fucking years. I'm so glad I finally like overcame it. And even sometimes when I have like a really, if I have like a really intensely like challenging or emotionally upsetting day, I will have that side of myself that's like, just go get a pack of cigarettes. Just go get a pack of cigarettes. Fuck it. And then I have like, thank God I've gotten like a good amount of time away from it to where it's like I'm strong enough to be like, ignore those thoughts. But I still have those thoughts come over me sometimes. Even today, I was kind of emotional this morning, and when I'm drained, when I work out, sometimes I put like all my energy into it, and then I'm so drained afterwards. And this morning, I was a little bit. I can get grouchy when I'm sore after I work out the following day. And you have to like recover your energy, so I do my amino acids and certain things, like get some rest, a hot salt bath, whatever. Try to do whatever I can to soothe myself, because I do get grouchy. And if something else triggers me emotionally or with fear or anger, those are one of the most immediate thoughts that come into my head, is to go get a pack of cigarettes, or to like want to smoke weed or something. Like, that's it. Just those two things. I don't really like to drink or anything. Like, every once in a while I would like want like a beer or a glass of wine, but it's more like my go-to when I would be upset was want to smoke pot or have a cigarette or some cigarettes. But it's just, I don't feel good, so I don't even do it no matter what I feel like. I know what I'll feel like after I do it, and so it's just not worth it to me. So now I know how to soothe myself now. So I'll just watch something, distract myself, like take a shower, take a bath, listen to music, read, do some prayers, talk to someone I love. There's so many different alternatives that are positive, where I'm not going to regret. And no judgment on smoking or smoking weed. Like, I did smoked weed also for like over 20 years, and I loved it. And honestly, it got me through a lot of my survival mode, but I think it also hindered me as well. I think if I would have just stayed sober and wasn't smoking, I probably would have got out of these negative situations faster. And I was just kind of like numbing myself emotionally instead of dealing with it and processing. And I think when I deal with it and process it without any sort of masking, I would get the situation, I would overcome the situation faster. And if I was like numbing myself and like I would stay in the situation longer. So that's a little secret for me, and that may not be for everyone, but that's what I learned over the years from going like back and forth with that sort of behavior. Walk around the house and ring a high-pitched bell to harmonize the house vibrations. Do a little. I have a bell. Ring bell. Ring bell. I also have a bell from my grandmother. I think it's right over here. I like this one because it's antique and it's from my grandmother Rose. I like the sound of it too. Gather with your client around the altar, hold hands and pray with intention. If you were called because of relationship and love issues, put red, pink, and white rose petals on the bed after the cleansing. Ask the owner to have fresh roses by the bed and to take a rose petal, boil them for 5 minutes, bathe before she goes to bed. All right, now it talks about sea salt. Sea salt is a natural detoxifier and absorber of negative energies from your skin and your environment due to its hygroscopic ability. It is used in almost all healing traditions around the world. Rub your hands and your entire body. You get like a salt scrub. I learned about that on like new moons or full moons. You can do like a mikvah bath cleansing and scrub your body with like sea salt scrub. It is used in almost all healing traditions around the world. Rub your hands and your entire body thoroughly with salt, or take a handful of sea salt and add it to a bath. Place small bowl. I'm going to take I have like a sea salt bath for sore muscles. I'm going to do that tonight. I usually do that after I work out that evening or the next day when I start getting really sore. And you soak for 20 minutes and it's like a world of difference. Really hot water. And then the salt also draws out like toxins out of your body and skin. Place small, so you can place small bowls with sea salt and water. No need to change the sea salt, just replenish the water in the corners of your house, under the bed, or in your office. You can also use sea salt without water. You can also fill a bowl of water, add a handful of sea salt, and dip your hands in it for a few minutes. Corn flour. This is excellent for the removal of strong emotional problems and spirit attachments. Rub it all over the entire body. Corn flour? I've never heard of this. It has the... Sorry. My mouth gets dry. It has the ability to repel. So corn flour, rubbing it all over the body. It has the ability to repel negative energies and is used to create protection circle around a person, a house, or sacred spaces by forming a line that bad spirits will not cross. Interesting. Never heard of that. Corn flour. Coal. Coal absorbs negative energies and is also perfect against bad dreams or nightmares. Oh, I didn't know that either. Grind the wood coal, preferably from a ceremonial fire. Oh, okay. Wrap it in natural fabric and tap it over your body or put it under your pillow to help you sleep as it absorbs reoccurring bad thoughts and nightmares. Interesting. Baths. Take a handful of sea salt and pour it in your bathtub and lie in it for 20 minutes. What did I just say? 20 minutes. You can also add a spoonful of baking soda. I've heard this as well. If you feel strong negative energies around you, take a bath with sulfur. Never heard of that. Put sulfur sticks or powder in water overnight, then pour the water into the bath. Okay. For heavier attachments, add 6 drops of ammonia to the water. Boil a bunch of rue leaves for 5 minutes and add them to your bath. Some shamans recommend taking beer baths. Okay. That's a lot of beer. If you do not have a bathtub, you could fill a bucket with water. Pour water using the palm of your hand 6 times over your left shoulder, 6 times over your right shoulder, and 6 times over your head. Do it with prayers, pure intention, and concentration. Repeat it on 3 consecutive days, starting on Monday. You can also dip your hands or your feet in a bucket of water with sea salt. Do not soap or shower after the bath. Sweating it out. I did that last night for 30 minutes in the steam room. And I'll put the towel over the thing and it gets like so steamy, like you can't even see. I love it because it's just, I really feel so like detoxed and like I can breathe better. I watched this whole Parashakti. There had this whole like a video about like sweat lodges in New York where people will do it to like cleanse from like negative energies and stuff. And it would be like a whole group of people in this like little sweat tents. It's intense. So sweating it out, spending time in a sweat lodge, steam room, or sauna can remove toxicity and purify your body, emotions, and soul. Sweating lets the negative energies on the surface of the skin and in the deeper tissues pour out of the body. Blowing of sugarcane rum. Put a small amount of sugarcane rum, Trago, I guess that's what it's called, in your mouth, under your tongue, and blow it out forcefully on yourself, on others. Ew. I would only let my boyfriend do that. Luckily, he's spiritual. Spit on me, baby. Or around the room in a strong intentional blow. Strong intentional blow, Anakin. It needs to be sent as a strong but soft mist. It will ionize and rebalance. It needs to be sent as a strong but soft mist. It will ionize and rebalance your energy body and surroundings. Eggs. Containing thousands of pores in their shells. Eggs are excellent for absorbing negative energy. Roll an egg over the entire body. Interesting. In the healing section, there's something with eggs too. Starting with the head and moving down to the feet. Concentrate on an area you feel needs more attention. You can also suck the bad energy out of your mouth and spit it into either water or a plastic bag. To dispose of the egg, it is recommended to bury it in the ground with a prayer. Feathers. Use feathers, preferably condor, eagle, or wild turkey, to remove stagnant negative energies. Start at your crown of your head and move all the way down to your feet. Let the feather guide you to feel energy blockages, just like dowsing. Feathers represent the element of air and the clearing wind. Stones. Brush healing stones, preferably black lava stones, over your body to absorb negative energy and create a protection shield. You can also hold a stone in each hand or put them in your Pockets for grounding from your home and office. Clap the stones around the room or rooms, especially in the corners where stagnant energy congregates. After using them, dip them in sea salt water or blow sugarcane rum on them to cleanse them. Green and black candles. It is believed that the wax absorbs negative energies. Rub a green candle over your body, preferably on your bare skin. Green repels Akoras, evil spirits, who cannot tolerate the color of life and growth. Oh, interesting. Start from the crown of the head and go all the way down to your feet. Light the candle, place it. Me and my friend, when we were like younger and we'd study in our 20s, we would go to these metaphysical shops and they would like anoint candles for you and put stones and like anoint them with like, oils and stuff. And they would put like prayer on it, or you could write an intention on the candle. There was like a metaphysical store in Green Valley. We used to go and do that all the time when I was studying Kabbalah in Vegas when I was like around 25, 26. Place it on a safe surface and let it burn all the way down. If you experience stronger spiritual attachment, rub a black candle in the same way. Black is the color of evil energy cast on you. Light it and turn it upside down. Hold it and let it burn down completely. What? For better results, do the ceremony for both candles on 3 consecutive days or as long as you need it. You're going to be standing there for a long time. Amulets. Amulets can be a piece of jewelry or an object made from stones, seeds, metal, or coins. Amulets sometimes contain words or prayers. They are worn and are created to protect the wearer from harm and evil spirits. They are sometimes blessed and imbued with the power of a shaman. Wear a protective charm, pendant, or bracelet on the left hand, the path to your heart, or over your heart. Mirror. Wear a mirror or a reflective metal surface over your heart center to deflect a negative energy attack back to the aggressor and to disperse it into the void. All right, this goes on, and I don't want to read everything. Let's see if there's anything. Hang a wind chime on your window or in your garden. The sound will send away bad spirits. My grandma used to have that on her porch, and I always remember that. Kind of want to get one for our backyard. It's weird because I don't hear any of the neighbors doing it. I wonder if it would annoy them. I don't think. I love the sound of it. But it gets very windy over here because we're near the mountain, so I don't know if it would be like out of control. Spray holy water, a salt and water mixture blessed by a priest or a spiritual teacher. I think I read this already. Okay. Oh, yeah. So I also wanted to, I forgot to do that. So I got this bracelet that is hematite and, what is it called? Hold on. Shungite. Okay, shungite crystal properties. So that's the more like silver looking one. So shungite is a unique ancient mineral known for its potent metaphysical and physical healing properties. I just got this last week. For its metaphysical and physical healing properties. It's particularly recognized for its ability to protect against electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, purify water and air, and detoxify the body. Additionally, shungite is believed to offer grounding, emotional balance, and stress relief. Metaphysical properties, EMF protection. Shungite is lauded for its ability to shield against EMFs emitted by electronic devices like computers, phones, and Wi-Fi routers. According to some sources, grounding and stability, it's believed to connect deeply to the root chakra, promoting feeling of stability, security, and grounding. Energy cleansing. Shungite is said to absorb and neutralize negative energy, purifying the aura and promoting emotional well-being. Spiritual healing. Many believe shungite enhances spiritual practices, aiding in meditation, focus, and balance. They say it's good for anti-inflammatory properties, potentially aiding in the healing of damaged cells. It combats bacteria and viruses, antibacterial properties. Boosting energy is thought to enhance energy levels and promote overall well-being. Origin: shungite is primarily found in Russia and is believed to be billions of years old, according to some sources. Holistic wellness: shungite is often used for holistic healing and is seen as a stone that can support with physical and mental well-being. Okay, and then the other stone on here is hematite, which is for grounding and protection as well, but I'll read a little bit of the properties. I think I forgot to do that last time. So hematite is a grounding and protective stone known for its metallic sheen. Oh, no, so I guess hematite is the metal. Wait, let me look at the pictures. Oh, yeah, so I'm sorry. So shungite is the black stone, and then the silver stone is hematite. Is that correct? No, or is that the black one? No. Look so similar. Hold on, let me look at the pictures of the shungite. No, I was right. The shungite is the silver, and the black is the hematite. Yeah. Shungite's way more silver. Hematite's more like black. Okay. Why is it saying metallic? And is known for its metallic sheen so it's kind of shiny, and it looks good with the shungite. In its ability to absorb negative energy while promoting balance and focus, it's also associated with mental clarity, courage, and strength. Physically, hematite is believed to support circulation, aid blood disorders, and bolster physical strength and endurance. Metaphysical properties: grounding: hematite is a powerful grounding stone, connecting one's energy to the earth and promoting stability. It's believed to create a protective barrier against negative energies and psychic attacks. Clarity and focus: hematite can help to clear the mind, improve concentration, and enhance memory. Balancing: it is said to balance yin and yang energies and align the body's energy system. Emotional stability: hematite can help to calm a troubled mind, reduce anxiety, and promote emotional balance. Courage and strength: it is believed to instill courage, inner strength, and confidence. Pain relief: it's used to relieve pain and promote physical healing by balancing the body's energy, according to Zodron Gems. Detoxification, magnetic properties, especially when heated, and is sometimes used in magnetic therapy. Okay. All right, we're going to go into the two Oracle deck readings, and then we're going to call it a night. So we're going to start with Animal Apothecary by Cara Elizabeth. Connect to a spirit animal. She has her own website too, and does like monthly what's the word? Like monthly like workshops. And she's really like affordable. She's really experienced. I believe she worked with she's really experienced with like Hinduism and what's that place called? I forget what the place is called. It's like a major like Hindu company, like the Kabbalah Center is with like Kabbalah and Judaism. Excuse me. Wait, I don't want to mix this deck up. Okay. It's upside down. Why are they? Is this supposed to be all in one direction? Why are they backwards? Hold on. Okay. That's gonna drive me crazy. I don't know if she still practices with them, but I believe she used to either teach there. I think she used to teach there. She may still be affiliated with them. I'm not sure. Where they teach Kundalini. That's what I meant to say. So she's experienced in Kundalini. She has a second deck that she's working on right now too, called Body something, which I would like to get when she's finished with it. But this is her only Oracle deck right now. But I really enjoyed her. I did one of her, and she has like a really affordable membership. I think it's like $30 a month, and you get her workshops for free each month. It's a really good deal, and she has all these other things on her website. And some people, the spiritual practitioners, it's very expensive, and she's very reasonable, and she's really experienced. So, and I believe her deck is through Elizabeth Hay, or excuse me, Hay House. Yeah, Hay House, which is a major company. Louise Hay. Hay House with Louise Hay. All right. So we got Just Trust. And it looks like, is that a groundhog? I don't know what he is. But we're about to find out. All right. 32. Looks like a cute little groundhog. I need some chapstick. It's my favorite chapstick from Sprouts. Moon Valley Organics. I think this one's like a mint. They have like a raspberry one. Juicy blackberry. I love tropical coconut lime. And this one's like cool mint vanilla. It's just, it feels so good on your lips. I'm really picky about chapsticks, but that's my favorite. And then it's not overly priced. It's like $3. I think you get like 2 for $5. It's a good deal. It's organic. It feels like it actually moisturizes your lips, not just coats it. Makes kissable lips. 32. Just Trust. It's a mole. Okay. 72, my lucky number, besides 77. 72 Names of God. Just Trust, the mole. Mole not only sees poorly, but also hears and smells poorly too. The one ability he can rely on to guide him where he wants to go is his sensitivity towards vibrations. This is why Mole comes to teach us the medicine of absolute trust, even in the darkness. When you receive this card, it is a tremendous confirmation that you will find what you seek. Not only will things work out, but they will also be better than what you can fathom with your current understanding of reality. Right now, it is the utmost importance to have unwavering faith. Even if you do not see proof of any progress, go forward. Do not aim for perfection because it will only block you from success. Do what you intend to do, even if you feel scared. Something that deeply resonates with your heart is awaiting you. The image of the sapling in the card represents your stage in the game. You have no idea if you will blossom into the great oak, the poetic rosebush, or perhaps the majestic redwood. But something profound is meant for you, and you must withstand the waiting game. You must see your wish without seeing it, and hear your desire without hearing it. You must be your fullest self without even knowing what that looks and feels like. What you want also wants you, and you must walk toward it with steadfast conviction. This card is a mighty confirmation. Feel a breath of relief and get excited. Mole's medicine is simple yet deep. His medicine is letting you know it is safe to trust. It's going to happen for you. Oh, what an awesome reading. I love that, Cara. Well, that was a little feel-good reading, wasn't it? Cute little mole, little rainbow coming out of him. It looks like almost like a onion sprout. It says just trust. I like him. All right, and then we're gonna do Kali Ma. Do the Kali Oracle by Alana Fairchild. We did one reading on the first part of episode 1, and we're gonna do one more reading now. All right, guys, let's do the damn thing. Dear Kali Ma, we call upon you. We ask that you please share your wisdom, send protection, healing, guidance, whatever you'd like to share. Thank you. Oh, that's like a little BB. Devi Makali. How cute. Look how wicked this one looks with like a parrot. How weird, because we were just, you know what's weird is that, okay, I think we're going to have to read this one too. Because I saw this one when I was making all the stuff for the bird theme for this episode, and I happened to somehow see the photo, I think on Google, because I was looking at the deck, and I saw the one with the bird, and I was like, oh, how interesting, because the theme is birds this week. So the fact that this, I picked that one, but this was the one at the top of the deck. Sometimes it can be like that, is what's intended. So we'll read both and then we'll be good. So we're going to do these two. It's going to be a 2-card reading. Just go with your gut sometimes. You may pick a card and then look at the deck, and the one that's on the bottom may be the one you're resonating with. All right, so first we'll read the Devi Makali, the little baby. Let me show you the cards again. So here, oops. Devi Makali. We're going to read that one first, and then we'll read Matanji. Looks like a parrot. Okay, Devi Makali. 29. 157. All right. Devi Makali, endlessly loving, infinitely forgiving. She will never turn away from you. No matter what you have done, no matter how many mistakes you have made, she is here for you always. Oh, that's beautiful and rare. She is here for you always. Feel the safety and sanctuary of her divine hugs. She is your soft place to fall and your kindest and most enthusiastic advocate. Let her shift your experience away from endless tasks and even greater expectations into sweet relief and comforting connection. There are times when we just need our mother. This is natural and necessary. However, for whatever reason, we may not be able to turn to the mother figure in our lives in our times of need. There is no need to feel deprived during such moments, for we have a divine mother who wants to help and has the endless resourcefulness to do so. The problem of receiving grace is never with the source of it. By its nature, grace flows with generosity. So, needing to earn or deserve it goes against the very nature of grace itself. However, we can struggle to be open to it and have a subconscious resistance to receiving. Intellectually, we may know that we are worthy of being helped, and even that others will also benefit when we are flourishing, so that grace brings multiple benefits to all. Yet we can still be more attached to the difficulty than the resolution. Why is that? We can underestimate the influence of belief systems and created in response to childhood trauma and the impact these unchecked beliefs can have in our adult lives. The beauty is that Kali will not only help us identify where we have our blocks, she will also help liberate the soul by providing us with a choice. We can allow her to consume those past traumas, relieving the soul of karmic burdens. Devi Ma Kali's grace is not about encouraging psychological regression or giving up the necessary learning and responsibility to grow. It is a recognition that there are times when even a mature adult just needs to feel loved, held, and appreciated, cherished, and adored. Not for the sake of boosting ego, but for the replenishing the heart that wants to give and give and give. It is about withdrawing from the distractions and the battles for a time, not to escape from what you need to do, but to have the energy and clarity of mind to approach your life journey effectively. Regression is avoidance. You hear that? Regression is avoidance. Whereas reconnecting with the childlike relationship to the divine replenishes the inner reserves so one can continue, change, approach, and gain supportive allies so that success can unfold more graciously and swiftly. The devotee of Kali Ma and Hindu saint Sri Ramakrishna taught that when a tree is young, it should be fenced all around, lest it is destroyed by cattle. What does that mean for us? Positive qualities such as healthy self esteem can be burgeoning within us, even when we are not fully aware of the extent of positive change that comes from the subtle inner shifts of mind, heart, and soul. Significant healing shifts often take place beneath conscious awareness. This is good. It prevents the sabotaging aspect of the mind from killing off and fledging quality before it is strong enough to stand up to the patterns of the past and assert itself rather than, for example, being trampled by overly critical and shaming voices. The protection of the young tree is a symbol for taking care of that which is vulnerable until it becomes strong enough to stand on its own and fulfill its destiny. This is what a mother is meant to do for her child and what Kali Ma Devi does for all her children if they will come to her. There is something good growing within you. Don't let clumsy or ill-wishing energies around or within you get anywhere near it. Let Kali Ma protect you from within and without. This particular form of Kali is without the association of battles and war, with which she is more commonly connected. Instead, she is the divine mother holding your being in her arms in a quiet and peaceful nursery of the soul, rocking you back and forth with a gently sweet lullaby upon her lips. The Hindu scriptures teach that when Shiva drank the poison that threatened to consume and destroy the world, he became sick with the pain of it and so transformed himself into a baby, feeding at Ma Kali's breast. Her milk soothed the poison, taking away the pain. If you have been taking on energies from others, perhaps unintentionally or even intentionally, in an attempt to alleviate their suffering, then the message is that Kali is providing you with relief and healing now. When you have so much going on that it feels like too much, permit yourself to seek her out and be comforted, held, and reassured. It is natural for a child to need and reach for its mother. You are deserving of comfort. Allow yourself to experience it without reservation. Invocation ritual. Imagine, visualize, or intend that you are a beautiful, precious child. If you did not have a positive experience of being loved, accepted, and enjoyed for who you were as a child in a safe and respectful environment, then you may like to intend to open up to a new experience of unconditional love, protection, and safety for the child within now. You may even like to imagine, feel, excuse me. You may even like to imagine, feel, or visualize that you are being cuddled or rocked gently by the Divine Mother by hugging yourself and making soothing sounds. Goo goo. I'm just kidding. As you softly rock back and forth. If this is confronting, be kind. Be really loved. Being really loved can take time. Oh my God, can take some getting used to if it is unfamiliar to you. Love can bring up some shock, anger, or grief before it brings peace. Isn't that interesting that people who have like not experienced a lot of love sometimes get really uncomfortable when somebody, gives them love? There is a tremendous freedom that arises. Where is my phone at? Oh, there it is. I was like, I thought I heard my phone. Love can bring up some shock, anger, or grief because it brings peace. There is a tremendous freedom that arises in feeling such feelings and letting them go. In this process, you have the safety to feel whatever you wish, allowing it to be compassionately witnessed by the Divine Mother. If you wish to talk with your Divine Mother, do so now. Excuse me. Just tell her what's on your mind and what you need. Listen for her response by turning into your heart, and know that her answers show up in the best possible timing and best possible way. What's that song by Madonna? I could be a lover, na, 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 could even be a mother, but I'd rather be a lover. That's right. I'd rather be a lover. Na 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 na. I forget the chorus part though. I can be. She did that song, the original demo with Tupac. I listened to the demo probably a few weeks ago for the first time. I'd never heard the demo. I kind of didn't like, and I grew up listening to Tupac. A lot of my friends were into him. And, there were certain aspects of Tupac I liked or whatever. I didn't like, the violent gangstery side to him, but he grew up in that world, so I get it. But I also didn't like the misogynistic way he was with women, like the player side of him. And honestly, I didn't like his verses, the way he was like speaking to Madonna in the song. I kind of got annoyed with it. But I know what it's like to be like, I think, I heard that Madonna and him had some sort of intimate relationship or intimate friendship, or, and I know what it's like to be attracted to men that have like toxic behaviors. But yeah, I remember hearing the demo and I didn't like his verses, just felt kind of misogynistic the way he's like speaking to her in the song. She ended up using Michelle Indegio cello, which she's a lesbian, so I prefer that version. But I think it's on her. Is it on Erotica? It's either on Erotica or Bedtime Stories. I think it's Bedtime Stories. I think it's called "I'd Rather Be Your Lover." She's like, I could be your mother, brother, lover, friend. Something. It's just like, I forget the verse, but it's a good song. Anywho, that was a tangent. When you are ready, complete your process by saying this prayer of invocation. Supreme Mother of the Universe, I am in your hands. My body, mind, and soul seek refuge in you and are now fed by your nectar, which alleviates poisons and brings strength, wisdom, and peace. I settle into your presence. You and I are bonded in divine love. A bond which can never be broken. May your comfort arise in my heart now, reaching through all dimensions for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Jai Ma Kali. Back to Madonna for just a second. I like her new boyfriend though. I feel like this is probably, he has like really good like energy. I think that's the type of energy she's needed in her life, because if you've seen who's the types of energies of men she's been with, he just seems like he has like a very positive energy and like a positive, like loving, like loyal influence on her. There's nothing like, sometimes you look at different people or men and they just all have like a different like energy imprint or whatever, or vibe, and he just has like a really, I don't know his name, but I always see like little videos and pictures of him with her. He's probably like the best father figure for her children as well, because he has such like a positive energy. That's the type of partner you want, like especially if you're raising children. But yeah, I approve of him, Madonna. He's a keeper. Complete your process with your hands in prayer at your heart. Not that you need my permission. Complete your process with your hands in prayer at your heart, bowing your head. All right, and now we're going to do this card, and then we're donezo. It's about the same amount of time as part one. This is maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes longer. All right, so now we're going to do Matanji with the parrot, since the theme was birds for this episode and from the Torah. All right, so it's 24. Matanji 137. I'd rather be your lover. Now I got that song stuck in my head. Matanji, she is the tantric queen of outcasts. Ooh. Unveiling hidden inner power to thrive outside conventional society. That's me, baby. She holds the secret teachings of the power of the voice, of the healing power of art and music. Yes, God, this is exactly what I needed. She is the divine feminine medicine for the lost, the alienated, those who have been cast aside. If you have been denied love and respect, she brings healing and empowerment. If you have suffered rejection, abandonment, or been labeled as unworthy in any way, she brings dignity and repair. She is the ignition of a creative, joyful, and vibrant life path. Yes. Ooh, I love this energy. And I love this card. Look how stunning this card is. I just love this card. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, Matanji. The ninth of the wisdom goddesses. Oh. Mahavida. Mahavidya Matanji is a wild goddess, sparkling green in color with a green parrot as her symbol. She dwells outside the wait. Sorry. I'm like, is this what's it called? There we go. What's the word? Symmetrical. I could not think of the word. She dwells outside the confines of polite society. She eats stale food, a symbol of her power in the realm that has been discarded or rejected, and her ability to source power from that which others cannot recognize as having value. Matanji sees worth where others are not capable of noticing it, let alone honoring it. She is for those souls going through the experience of being disrespected, discarded, not really seen, and not loved and valued for their true being. She is also for those who think and seek to live outside social, political, economic, or religious systems and can thrive best by doing so. Sounds like me. We're going to be besties. Her association with pollution and unclean food represents her power to overcome impurity and toxic energies. These include poisons on all levels, from the many physical toxins in our modern world to actions that appear holy on the surface but are rotten at the core, to the emotional and psychological poisons that steal away our peace and freedom for those who recognize the spiritually dysfunctional lifestyles that typify mainstream mentality. Who may feel uncertain or vulnerable as to how to cultivate well being and protect the planet for future generations, she provides strength, courage, and ingenuity. Matanji opens the sacred pathway that bypasses fear and moving with the crowd, releasing constrictions to the soul and allowing for authenticity and a deep inner aliveness to emerge. You'll know when this is happening because you will feel increasingly like yourself, responsible and free to create your path in life. While recognizing how trapped and dead end so many are around you, you will feel grateful that you don't fit in and determined to manifest something constructive with the gift of freedom and spiritual power that you've been able to access. Matanji is the liberator, and her appearance in her reading implies you cannot find fulfillment in the dreams another has dreamed for you, nor in the values that mainstream society holds. Sounds about right. That's why I'm doing my podcast on here. Doing things my way. You have a path and a purpose that needs to break with societal conditioning, and sometimes that will mean experiencing what it is to be an outsider. However, you are never alone, and really, you belong to a soul tribe of unique beings with Matanji as our spiritual queen. There is nothing wrong with being different. You can find a way to belong that does not compromise your essential self, but rather frees and empowers you to belong to yourself fully. Amen. Aho. As the tantric emanation of Saraswati, Matanji opens us to the esoteric power of speech. Saraswati is another Hindu goddess. This is the realm of poetry, speaking and writing that inspires and uplifts. The use of words in such a way that they have the power to change another's state of being. Some may call this spell casting, a beautiful teaching associated with Matanji is that the devotee must treat all women with reverence and respect. Yes. She will not manifest her blessings where the feminine is criticized or desecrated. That's why she's coming to me, because I've always been drawn to women my whole life. Not intimately, but just in all aspects. When I was younger, I always like hung out with girls. But open-minded women, there's been a lot of discriminatory women that are just discriminatory to like gay men. So I align well with open-minded women. Yeah, male or female, it just depends on the soul. If they're open-minded and positive, great. If they're not, either sex is going to be a problem. I'm not like really into stereotypes or labels. I think it's all on an individual experience. To use such power to where am I? We use the power she gives to honor the sacred, and her power grows in us. To use such power to put another down is an act against the goddess and will not manifest any benefit. Exactly. So Matanji's presence often indicates a time when we are learning the spiritual power and responsibility as our influence expands. In a reading, she augurs the overcoming of a toxic pattern or situation. If you have been feeling at the mercy of another person or situation, she reassures you that you have the spiritual power within to claim your energy as your own. She will assist you in shedding psychic contaminations or residues from others, and you need have no fear as Matanji operates outside systems and convention. If you are feeling afraid or victimized within a system of bureaucracy, for example, you are asked to seek sanctuary in her and trust in her overriding power. No fasts or other purification rituals, no initiations or other forms of teachings are required to practice Matanji's mantra. She encourages music and dance as a way to connect with her and receive her blessings. She reminds us that to the divine eye we are lovable, worthy, and acceptable as we are. Hers is a joyful path of the heart. Invocation ritual. Start with saying this prayer. Raja Matanji, Queen of Outcasts, who dwells beyond society and thrives, you arise at the thresholds in the spaces of desolation, abandonment, and banishment. You are strength and sweetness. You are the extraordinary power that arises when all seems lost. You provide the knowledge needed to succeed and the path to overcome all obstacles through the power of the joyful spirit. May your wisdom manifest through all capable channels for the spiritual benefit of all beings. May our playful hearts take delight in yours. Jai Mama Tanji. Intend, imagine, or visualize that you are offering all your concerns on a vibrant green plate, holding it out toward the beloved goddess. Matanji, who is shining as a bright green sun, out of that sun squawks and swoops a huge green parrot. The parrot grabs the offering plate in its beak and flies back with it until both are lovingly submerged into the sun. There is freedom of release and the promise of blessing. Say the following mantra several times with joy in your heart. Om Harim Aim Sarim Sri Mantan Geshvari Sava. Sounds like Om Harim Ayem Shrim Sri Matang Geshvari Swaha. Finish with your hands in prayer at your heart. You have completed your healing process. All right, so we will smudge really quick and call it a night. We're going to do a little cord cutting with the energy of Kali and Matanji. Where did that paper go? Wait, do I have this backwards? Oh, come on already. All right, so I'm going to pull up the cord cutting prayer, and then I have my Kabbalistic cord cutting or banishing negative forces prayer. Great Spirit, I call upon your power to sever the cords that bind me and my followers or my friends, anyone connecting to this podcast, to any negative situations, person, place, or situation. I release all negative energy, fear, and attachments that no longer serve my highest good. I ask that these cords be transmuted into light and love. Thank you for your guidance and protection as I step into this new phase of healing and empowerment. I am grateful for the lessons learned, and I embrace my freedom. We call upon Matanji, and Kali, the light of the Creator, the archangels, to banish any negative forces. So in book 1 of the Holy Zohar, when you smudge, you go to Bereshit A, verse 221 and 222 on page 285. You scan that Hebrew Aramaic when you're going to smudge, and then you do the 72 name of God for spiritual cleansing, and I also do banishing negative, banishing the remnants of evil. So spiritual cleansing, mem vav mem, and then this page is ripped. Banishing the remnants of evil, Lamed Aleph Vav, Lamed Aleph Vav. And we can also do looks can kill, protection from evil eye, Aleph Lamed Daled, Aleph Lamed Daled. And just to give it a little angelic boost, we'll do angelic influences, Hey Zion Yud, Hey Zion Yud. And these are all from the 72 names of God. Turn off this fan. And then I'm going to light the Dragon's Blood Sage, and then we'll use the cord cutting selenite wand. Oh, come on. The fan is like blowing the lighter. All right. In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Mother Mary, Mother Gaia, Father Sky, all upon the four corners. All upon Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael. Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Uriel, Archangel Metatron, Archangel Metatron, Archangel Metatron. Please banish any negative forces from my home, my travels, my family, my friends, my followers. We're sending out protection, healing energy from the archangels through this portal energy. Send protection in the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Mother Mary, Mother Gaia, Father Sky. And we are cord cutting. It's pretty, huh? Isn't that gorgeous? I love selenite. Send all the energy through my Merkaba to you guys. So this should have been my what do they call it? When you have to snap like a photo for YouTube. I forget what it's called. Don't they look good together? I love selenite. It's so pretty. Oh. All right, guys. It's been real. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing. It's been beyond. This was awesome. You know, it's just going to get better and better and better from here. Even, it was just like such a release today. And like, I just feel energized. Feel like I released a lot of energy. Feel inspired. I feel connected to you guys. And hopefully, you know, get a little, not hopefully, I setting the intention that my audience is going to grow and this is going to reach lots of people, and then I'll make lots of connections. And feel free, feel free to, share your comments or inspirations. I only accept only positive energy in this platform when it comes to comments. Any negative energies will be reported blocked. And so have respectful attitude when you're commenting towards me or anyone else in the comment section. That's all I ask of you. But feel free to like share your insights, your support, your positive energy, or any recommendations. I'm always love recommendations for books or shows or series or spiritual tools or spiritual methodologies or practices. So feel free, and feel free to bond with other people in the comments as well. Love you guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.